in a world crying out for a top 10 show. John Rocha and Matt Knost are here to bring you the top 10. Brought to you by the Schmoes Know. Take it away, boys. Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the Top 10 Show. Matt, how are you?
I'm good, bud. How are you?
I'm good. We are doing this for the first time from the new studios.
I know. We can't paint the same picture we had before,
No.
but I think our thrones should be somewhere in this room. I like the mock-ups of the artwork that we had.
Yeah.
Although I
Yeah.
kind of looked like one of Mr. Rogers' puppets.
Oh, did you?
remember those disgusting little, like...
Oh, yeah.
They had the boozer nose and the bright cheeks, like W.C. Fields.
It's unsettling, those puppets.
It was a little bit, but at
like
the same time...
Wayne Flowers and Madam. Those are unsettling, yeah.
Sure. but I think somewhere here we should have a wall.
Oh, absolutely. Well, once we win the tag team titles back from the Patriots, we will be two-time champions. Therefore, we need to have our own wall.
Should have double the wall space, is what you're saying.
Yeah. Boom, boom, nailed it.
Do 2 times everything. There's room here. This place is massive.
I know. If you do hear an echo, it's because we still haven't finished laying down the carpet in the new studios, and so we're just kind of talking in a big cavernous concrete space. It looks like a hangar. Feels like a hangar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You could park a plane in
Machine
at least
shop
a
or
small
something
plane.
used to live here.
Oh yeah, machine shop. That's probably true.
I'm guessing, just given what's around.
Yeah.
But it's nice.
I know, dude. Like, we just cleared it out, this area, and we can run and throw the football and play basketball and do soccer. It's crazy. Like
men.
Yeah, men. That's right.
Activities. There's so many. Can we make bunk beds? It'll free up so much space.
Oh my God, it'd be perfect. Wendy and Perry just staring at us like we're idiots, and so yeah, it's a fun.
They don't
time.
get in. We just got to find what they're into, and then they'll get into it too.
Well, Perry's into basketball.
There you go.
People know if they're following me on Twitter and Instagram, following her. We had our first kind of warm-up basketball match this weekend because Perry and I are going to go at it. In a
What does warm-up
one-on-one. We just kind of we played each other in a mini game of 11 by ones, make it, take it.
Okay.
Out on this Burbank High School basketball court. So we went back and forth because Perry's she was convinced that she was going to beat me in basketball. And I haven't picked up a basketball in 2 years.
Yeah, I saw those shoes.
Yeah, you saw the shoes.
I saw your shoes. John asked me to ID his sneakers and was like, I think those are this. He was like, the amount of dust. It was impressive.
And the bottoms came off. The bottoms came off.
Yeah, I was going to tell you, the glue is probably toast. You can reglue it. You can reglue it.
No, I'll just get some new. Get a new pair. At my age, I got to get a new pair.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm John Rocha.
I am Matt Knost.
Welcome to the Top 10 Show. This week, we, in honor of Annihilation,
coming
out with Natalie Portman and Tessa Thompson and Jennifer Jason Leigh. This is an Alex Garland film who did Ex Machina, which was fantastic for people. It was one of the favorites of the Top 10 Show, I would say. We both
that
enjoyed
year was
film.
it 2000 or 2016?
Yeah, I think 16 or 15. It was one of those 2 years.
Okay,
but definitely one of the favorites of the Top 10 Show. So this one was getting dumped in February, so I was afraid that it wasn't going to be a good movie. And then in the end, the reviews coming out are great. And Frosty was just here today and said it was fantastic. So I'm looking forward to it.
Great.
And I'm a +1 with Perry, I think, next week for a screening of it.
Nice.
But anyway, Matt and I were kicking around this idea of what we want to do this week. And we came up with the top 10 female characters in sci-fi. Because it's kind of a sci-fi movie. And we were...
Yeah, to honor that, not to steer away from it.
Yeah.
To do something like we may never have talked about these specific characters before.
Yeah.
Or maybe we have. Who knows? But specifically to focus on these characters and why they were great in the movies and whatnot. I think this was when you came up with it, I was like, yeah, that looks great to me.
Yeah, I was actually afraid that, because female roles are not that abundant in superhero sci-fi. I was afraid it was just going to be Ripley and Sarah Connor. I thought it was just going to be that and Uhura. But as I started researching, I was like, damn, there's a lot in here that I hadn't thought of, and non-conventional choices and conventional choices. So I was like, oh, this is going to be a fun list to talk about as I started building it. And we were kicking around who we want to come on because we wanted a guest for this one, and we had to kind of put it together quickly. And I was very, very happy that we were able to find this amazing guest. For those of you who know her from the Schmodown, from her numerous stints on a number of networks, her own podcast, Sending the Wolf. I couldn't be happier to welcome Clarke Wolfe to the Top 10 show for the first time.
Yay! Thanks for having me, guys.
Welcome.
I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Fresh from the recent formation of the Shire Wolves.
Hashtag Shire Wolves, y'all.
You got to go get a T-shirt. They're all up there now on TeePublic.
Get your tees.
Yes, Rachel Cushing and Clarke Wolfe together. Matt, we're only going to hold on to the belts for so long. With a team like the Shire Wolves coming for us, I don't know, man.
Listen, I normally err with you on the side of respecting the guest. But now we are stepping outside of that zone and talking about something that's utterly different. And it is an absolute pleasure for you to be here today.
Yes.
But in no world will I concede us losing the fucking belts to you or to anybody else once we get those goddamn things. Anyway, back to pleasantries. It is an absolute joy to have you on the show.
You got to get them back first.
Don't worry.
It's anybody's
Don't worry.
That's right. That's true.
It is a
She makes
foregone
great point.
conclusion in my mind that we will have those back again.
It's good. Serenity now.
Yeah, sure.
When he's confident, I know we're set. I know we're good when Matt's confident.
We're coming for those two assholes. We've wanted them for a long time. For a long time.
I hope you take them out.
Yeah, I see Josh once a week now. Don't think that I don't think about that sometimes when I see him.
That's right.
Yeah, come on.
I got to play him live. It's not going to
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know that was happening until I saw it on Twitter.
Right.
I was like, whoa, I am really out of the loop.
I know.
Shame on me. But it's going to be a good match.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. He might wipe
That
the
looks like
floor
a
with
fun
me,
night.
or I've never beat him. So it would be interesting. Like in any, we never played singles, but I've never beat him in teams. So remember he beat us
Yeah, he did. He's done it three times.
3 goddamn times. So.
And 2 times it came down to the last question. We lost to Finstock on one because it's literally one of 3 movies. He's like, it's one of only a handful of movies that I know. Which is, you want to take a guess? Do you want to take a guess?
Was it like a James Dean movie?
No, but it was
he pulled
anomalous.
Out a crazy James Dean movie answer when I played him one time, and I was like, "Oh my god!" or maybe I was watching his match, and I was like, "Oh no, what?" So
That could be the other pocket.
what was it?
Sideways.
Sideways.
Oh.
He knew the finale of Sideways.
Sure.
I didn't know
And he
that
was like-
fool knew what wine was.
Yeah, what any kind of different class above him actually does. I
Yeah.
think he just wallowed in the gutter
Yeah.
and just understood that world.
We cannot sleep on Bob Finstock. I'm
No,
serious.
you're
like
right.
he that I did defeat him. Came down to the
You
last
did.
question, but yeah, I can't sleep on him. It's like it's crazy.
He almost took Makuga. He almost beat Makuga. He was ahead of Makuga in that match between them going in the 3rd round, and only blew it at the end. But he had Makuga on the ropes.
He's listen. He's a sleeper.
Yeah,
he's good.
Big
He's
time.
real good.
All them damn fools. Clarke, will you give people a little bit of background about yourself on the show who may not be familiar? I doubt anyone's up, but just in case.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my name is Clarke Wolfe. Hello, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Originally.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, I am.
Peach what? Where'd you live?
Peach, right. Well, I grew up in a town called Alpharetta, which is like the Orange County of Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
And then as soon as I finished high school, my parents moved into the city proper, and they live in a really cool part of town. And that's where I finished college at Georgia State University downtown.
Right.
But anyway, I'm here in LA now. I'm not teleconferencing in.
Enough said.
And I am an actress. I produced a slasher musical last summer called Slashed the Musical.
Sweet.
Which was a stage musical that was super, super fun and co-starred in that. And I have been on Collider Video and Nerdist and Skybound and Screen Junkies and a ton of other nerdy places. And I am currently hosting and producing a podcast called Sending the Wolf, where with John Rocha has been on, and Knost, I hope you will come on at some point. But the premise is that the guest picks any movie off of any AFI list, and we talk about it.
Okay.
And then at the end of the show, they pick a movie that is not on that list and reveal it to me. I don't know that one, and then we talk about it. And it's as simple as that. And Rocha and I had a great conversation
We
about
did.
Shawshank Redemption.
People still tweet about that.
It was a really, really fun one.
It was.
I loved that one. And you know, you learn a lot about people through movies and what movies mean to them.
Yeah, what they gravitate towards.
Right. And
So
the
that's
reason
been
why
fun.
we love them.
Question, though.
Yes, sir.
Did you come up with Sending the Wolf?
Quentin Tarantino came up with it.
Okay, well,
I stole
I see
it
it
from
every time
him.
I want it to be Sending the Wolf. Like to actually send in, like you're sending the dog, sending like sicking after.
So it's funny because it's confusing because of the way everybody says it in Pulp Fiction.
Right.
But the actual line is, are you sending the wolf.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he says, of course I am, and he's like, oh, that's all you had to say. And Harvey Keitel is the wolf.
Right.
So that's the name, is Sending the Wolf from
Okay.
Pulp Fiction.
And it's interesting because she wears a tuxedo.
Yes, I do.
Through the
my
whole
avatar
podcast?
yes, I do. And I have a cup of coffee. And
And Julia Sweeney shows up
Yes,
every single
it's
time.
That is amazing.
It's incredible. I don't know what
very
Julia's
method,
doing, but
like very method podcast hosting.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
me, and I'm trying to think if I have anything else coming out. Just the podcast is back. By the time this episode goes up, my episode with Mark Ellis, who's another Collider
Nice.
favorite, he picked Good Morning Vietnam
good
off
choice.
of the laughs list, and that was a great conversation we had. And there's a lot, if I may, a lot of really cool stuff that I'm excited about that's coming up on the pod, branching out from our circle of friends and colleagues and getting into some actors and directors who I've already recorded with, some comedians and personalities, and they're really like different kinds of people, but they're picking great stuff.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. So I'm excited.
that's awesome.
So-
Is there anyone you can tease?
Oh, yeah. Well, one person, so I'll tease two. First is, I'll just tell you who she is, and you guys should get excited because you don't even know. But so Lynn Shay, who is the lead of the Insidious franchise, right?
Oh.
She is the backbone. She plays Elise in the Insidious
Right.
franchise. Now, I know some of you might be going, okay, that's cool, I guess. This woman, her brother is Bob Shay, who started New Line Cinema.
Oh, God, really?
Yes. And
Wow.
this woman has a classical theater training from New York. She did theater with Glenn Close. She, Bob Shay discovered the Farrelly brothers.
Wow.
And she was in Dumb and Dumber and Kingpin. She's Magda in There's Something About Mary.
Okay.
In addition to being the teacher in A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, my
and
God.
being the lead in the Insidious franchise.
She's the one that does the tongue thing in Kingpin in
Yes,
the back seat.
that's exactly
the
right.
old lady. Oh, my gosh, she's great.
The coolest, and she has stories for days. And she picked Sunset Boulevard. Yeah,
Good choice.
So that was a really cool one. And then Ryan Prowse, he's a first-time feature director. He directed a movie called Low Life.
Okay.
It's coming out this spring, April. I want to say April 4th from IFC. Wow. This movie is. Can we curse on the show?
Of course.
The coolest fucking movie you will see this year.
I told you you're never getting those fucking belts from us.
That's true. I forgot. I'm just so used to that.
Just as a reminder
I'm
to
so
throw that
used to
jab
that.
one more
Trash
time your
mouth
way.
from you.
Just telling you, fucking holding on to those goddamn things.
But so Ryan, I'm recording an episode with Ryan this
That's
week,
awesome.
and Low Life. I'm telling you guys, it is. It's not a horror movie, but it is kind of an exploitation dark comedy.
Wow.
It's like Reservoir Dogs, but told through Los Angeles Latino culture. Like it's so
all I need to hear. I'm in.
fucking cool, and I can't wait for everyone's gonna lose their mind. They're gonna lose their mind. over
I
this
love those movies. I even saw what's the one that recently with Damian Bashir and Eva Longoria. It was all about. It was a Mexican one. They're all gangsters and they're like doing the lowriders.
Really?
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's very cool.
Bashir's portrayal of a Mexican a gang guy with bald head, got the tats. I was like, Jesus Christ! It scared the shit out of me.
It's great.
It was
there's
so good.
there's lucha in this movie.
Oh, nice.
It's a very dark comedy. It's got some really fucked up stuff in it, but it's just so good. I am telling you, people are going to lose their minds, and so I'm trying to get Ryan before he's too cool to come on my podcast. So
You knew him when.
Yeah, I knew him when. So we are allegedly recording an episode this week. So I shouldn't have teased it before we recorded it.
Do you know what film he's choosing?
Yes, Taxi Driver.
Great choice.
Oh,
Yeah,
Great
he
choice.
said it's very influential on him and his work, and so we record the interview the conversation in a couple of days. So I'm very stoked. So those are two kind of
That's
different,
Yeah.
different flavors that are coming along. So I'm very excited.
What do you expect from the wolf, man? She's got fingers in all kinds of pies, so to speak.
Dozens of different pies.
Yeah, she's
the
all
pies.
over the. She's all over the
All the
town.
pies.
She's
All
connected.
the
She just-
gluten-free pies.
Gluten-free, really?
I know it's a
Are
real
you
thing.
Do you actually have the allergy?
yeah.
Okay.
Trust
Really?
me, I promise you, no one would choose this life.
Yeah, no, it's a
No
terrible
one would
life.
choose not to be able to eat sourdough bread
Exactly.
and cake and cupcakes.
Oh, bye,
and,
Christian.
and all kinds.
Bye.
Of things.
Do you want to interject? You sure? Yeah, well, it doesn't stop you
Gluten-free.
usually, so I just wanted to give you the opportunity.
Oh, there it is.
Don't you worry, I saw it a second time.
Bye. Anyway,
Yeah,
all the
that's
pies.
great. Yeah, gluten is. I bought gluten-free sea salt chips only because I tried them once with a friend. I'm like, these are amazing.
Yeah,
so
they taste good.
Yeah, they do. And I have a horrible chips fetish, so like I got to keep it light, or else I'd be 500 pounds. So that keeps me kind of chill for now.
Yeah, but gluten's just protein.
Well,
Is it?
it's not.
Yeah.
It's an enzyme.
Oh, I thought it was a protein. Like basically,
Well,
ultimately,
actually,
it boils down to it's
you're-
a protein.
You're not. Yes, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So what's the
it's
enzyme
not
part
like
of it?
it's not like a
The way it
protein
metabolizes,
like
or
like egg whites is a protein.
Oh,
It's
right.
not.
Yeah.
It's not like that. It's
Yeah.
but yeah, it's
You can't lift weights on gluten, is what you're saying.
that's
no, but it's not like it's just sugar or something
Correct.
else. Like your
That's
body,
right. Yes.
if you get too much protein, most people just process it and it goes out.
Yes.
You just don't absorb it. Just protein. Just push it right through.
Especially before a colonoscopy. You put it all. You pull it all.
It wasn't recording for that.
yeah. They don't know what we're.
Oh yeah, that's right. We were talking about that.
Yeah,
off.
we were
I
talking
was
about that
gonna
before.
say something, but then I didn't because I was like, I'm not gonna call you out like that.
Oh yeah, no. Who cares?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Who
don't
cares?
care. I got no shame about it. It's my life. I'm trying to live. I got to
Yeah.
do these colonoscopies. That's how I live.
Yeah, I got
Trust
mine
me,
coming up,
I
buddy.
survived. I had an endoscopy too,
Oof.
so you can do it.
I've had a
You'll be fine.
hemorrhoidectomy. I wish that on no one.
I've had 3 friends in the past year have kidney stones.
Oh,
Where I got so bad they have to put the instrument through the urethra and then make sure that the stone's in there, and then they have to like pulse them with some sort of sonic something to break it up, and you still have to pee it out.
That
And I was
sounds like
yeah.
a science fiction movie to me.
boom.
3 people in the past year.
We call
It's
that a
like,
segue. We call that a segue. So anyway, before we get too gross.
Enough rambling?
Yeah,
Okay.
enough rambling. We should get to it. Matt, do you want to tell them how the show works?
Yeah, once we set a topic, all 3 of us went our separate ways and created individual top 10 lists and show back up here. I do my bottom 5, John does his bottom 5, Clarke does her bottom 5. Then it's 3-3-3. Then we trade one apiece. Once we've revealed our 3 personal top 10 lists, we create the shows between the 3 of us.
Boom.
All right, so I will start.
Yes.
At number 10, I am going to say Dr. Is it Ellie Sattler
Okay.
from Jurassic Park?
Oh,
Now,
interesting. Okay.
Sorry.
That's science fiction.
yeah, oh yeah, it totally is, and
Yeah.
and I have her on my list.
Okay.
Higher, way higher.
So then
All
we
right,
punt.
it's a punt.
Punt.
We're holding that.
She's
He doesn't
not on
have
my
it at all.
list. I don't
so
have it at
we
all.
get to judge him when we get
Yeah,
to yours.
absolutely.
Because he doesn't have it at all.
Yeah,
Yep.
anthropology
It's
is
disrespectful.
I guess.
It's science
I don't
fiction.
believe in it as a science, but all right, that's fine.
Okay, but we're going to get into other things with aliens and whatnot. At least we have proof of dinosaurs and there's the science behind it.
So
sounds.
you say. So you say.
Okay, that's true.
This is Amber and a mosquito.
Mosquito.
got-
But yeah, okay, we'll talk
so
about that
punt.
when we get to it because that's one of the few problems I have with it. Number 9 for me is Lilo from Fifth Element.
Oh, that's a great choice. It's on my honorable mentions. Is it on your list?
Nope.
Okay, please talk about it.
This is one of those movies I did not like it the first time I saw it.
Really?
Didn't like it at all. And in college we had a filter, so it was old coaxial cable days. You literally had to undo the cable from the cable box, and you put it into this cylinder that looked like a nitrous, cartridge, whatnot, on both ends, and then took a wire out and boom. And it was Stars was the only thing that came in via that. We're like, whatever, it's one extra pay channel. And it was on for, I'm not kidding, I think a year, for one entire year. I saw it 30, 40, 50 times.
Wow.
I've seen this movie. You just put it on late in the background.
Damn.
And now I absolutely adore everything about it. I love all the quirks. Like the Chris Tucker being so over the top drove me
Yes.
nuts. And now I find it so endearing and lovable, and I love the character. And her in it, she is this ultimate weapon, but there's such an innocence that she manages to convey that I guess maybe with the other stuff she's done, she hasn't been asked to do it outside of, Joan?
Well, yeah, right. In a Resident Evil, those films.
Yeah, it's a
right?
Resident
Yeah.
Evil that you don't really need the
Yeah.
innocence and whatnot that she brought to this character, but just always been kind of, I liked it ultimately, like it just love is the overpowering sentiment that they're trying to get across through her, and that'll defeat all. And I thought she was excellent in it.
I don't disagree with you, man. She is so good in this movie. And Jovovich is an interesting actress because, like, when she's not good, she's really not good. But when she finds material that works for her, she is dialed in and you can go along with her. Even that Joan of Arc, which is not that good of a movie, some scenes, she really can carry it. And I enjoy that.
I feel like she's kind of like Keanu Reeves. Like,
Oh,
I
great point.
love Keanu Reeves. And I think he's more talented than people give him credit for.
Absolutely.
But he needs the right director. He really, I think his performances live or die by that director. And if they are capable of sort of using him in his best ways. Like, and I don't think that's a one-trick pony. No. You know, and same with Mila. I think Mila is really good at a lot of things, but she needs to really want to be there, and she needs to have the right material and somebody who knows how to work with her.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that's interesting about it, I discovered her because I think she was on 90210 or one of these shows, and her and Shannon Doherty had like this rivalry. And the rumor was that when Jovovich started singing, because she was a model, when she started singing, that Doherty showed up at a couple of concerts, would laugh all through her, would sit front row to kind of mess with her and stuff. So because I didn't like Doherty, I bought her CD as a protest. But I bought Jovovich's CD as a protest, and I actually liked a couple of the songs. And I was like, well, damn, okay, I'm cool with this. But since then, I've been like following her career, been like slowly championing her. And like, she doesn't make the best choices, but when she does, like Clarke says, when she's in the right hands, she actually can produce a good performance. And she is great coach in this movie.
If you know how to use the player, you can get the most out of him, maximize. It's like Keanu, just like, you know what he does.
Yeah.
And don't ask him to do outside of that. Looking at you, Coppola. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Or Much Ado About Nothing.
Yeah.
Let's not set him up for failure.
Yeah, and Coppola afterwards is like, he tried so hard, and we were all like, you know, he put in the effort, and just like, then just ask him to change the character and make it something different and just play to his strengths.
Yeah. But in this, she does a great job, like, because she's like discovering the world and speaking in a certain, and it's all believable. And then when she becomes the weapon, you're like, damn, whoa! So it's
when it's finally time for it slowly builds to the point where you need her, and it feels earned.
Yeah.
Because she was restrained, you didn't know her true awesome power, but you only need that in the final moment.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Ultimately, when it exposes itself. So that was my number 9.
Cool. What's your number 8?
My number 8 is Hannah from Hannah.
Oh, all right.
Nobody?
No.
I'm getting 2 smiles back.
This is science
fiction. That's a good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
You didn't think it was sci-fi?
No, I don't know if I never finished it.
Oh, you haven't seen it all the way through?
No, I stopped when she goes into the human family. I was like, I can't do this. I just for
she
whatever
never
reason,
had
I just
that
didn't
life.
like it.
That's why the story has to go there, because this is the first glimpse that she's had outside of, I have been trained because my mother was taken when I was pregnant, and I was by the CIA, genetically modified or something to be turned into this weapon. And so Eric Bana steals her and raises her up for this, and she knows they're coming. And so this is the first time she's ever had any interaction that isn't kill or be killed.
Right.
Her entire life. That's a messed up way to grow up as a kid. As a little girl?
Yeah.
I mean, oh, man, that's brutal. I tried writing a joke about that once where the existence of humans is so atypical from everything else in the world. I'm not talking... I set it up as or as people, whatnot, but animals, literally everything there. Are you going to kill me? Okay, we're fucking cool. We're cool. Okay. And it's just everything they kind of interact with is just kill or be killed. So to see a little girl when she lands herself into what is normalcy for the rest of us, I'd like that the story stayed there, and then she gets plucked back out and she pulls the action off.
I'll go back to it. Did you like it, Clarke?
I thought I had seen it, but when you started describing it, I was like, I have not seen this movie.
Yeah, it's Kate Blanchett, Eric Bana.
Yeah, Saoirse Ronan.
Saoirse Ronan.
It's definitely ringing bells, but I do not think I have seen this.
It blew me away when after I saw Lady Bird and then figured out that was the movie. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
She's very talented.
I thought that was just a Nordic little girl or something like that who was just amazing at the act, like X-23 or whatever that character is.
Yeah, Daphne Keane, yeah.
Just a little girl that is just so amazing at it. Be like, we'll limit her lines if we have to. This is so impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that movie. At 7 for me, Ryan Stone from Gravity.
She was on my honorable mentions list.
Nothing.
Also, 1 of 10 great Sandra Bullock movies. Continue.
Oh.
Yeah, 1 of 10.
Wow.
1 of 10.
There are more, but...
not many.
Yes, sure.
Not many. Therein lies the problem.
I think my approach to this was different. I think that's why I don't have her on my list. Normally I would.
How did you define science fiction?
A little bit of science and a little bit of fiction, but a lot of fantasy. So
I include fantasy is a different genre.
I'm looking at all.
Well, this is an interesting thing because just if I may,
a couple of fantasy, a couple of real.
When I had Collider Nightmares, the audience got so mad at me all the time. That's not horror. That's this. Blah blah blah. And I was like, you guys, the reason that we fans of this stuff think darkness, whatever you want to call it genre, is a accepted term by people who like horror, science fiction, fantasy, thriller, is because they blend so easily into one another. And so that's honestly why y'all were laughing, because when audience, you don't know this, but when we were sound checking, I read the definition of science fiction based off of
to get her levels
I
right.
wrote it down. But
I'd like you to read that. I would.
give it to him.
Okay, well, here is the definition of science fiction according to Dictionary.com.
Boom.
It is fiction based on imagined future scientific or technological advances and major social or environmental changes, frequently portraying space or time travel and life on other planets. But that's not a requirement.
Yeah. That's just a genre. That's a commonplace within the genre.
And so I will say, just to interject real fast, there is no Star Wars on my list.
Wow.
Even though
Me either.
a lot of people...
It's fantasy.
And that's...
We'll get to it.
Fine, but just, you know what I mean? Like, I agree with both of you at the same time.
I mean, Lucas himself calls it science fantasy.
Right.
So
There's
I
also
was
no
like,
superheroes
that's true.
on
Fantasy is
mine.
fiction.
Yeah, but they're using magic.
Fantasy is fiction.
Ultimately.
Fantasy is fiction.
And science fiction is like, it's predicated upon we all agree on rules.
Well,
and this is...
But like Batman doesn't use magic.
I wish we were on video. God damn it. God damn it. The people need to see that of the... I swear to God, at times, man, you are a 16-year-old Latino girl.
It's true.
It
It's
is
true.
amazing.
Listen, I've
Between
said this before.
Buying the CD against in spite out of Shannon Doherty. Last week we found out, listen, this is a Katy Perry, man. Taylor Swift can fuck off.
That's right, basically.
According to Rocha.
Yeah.
So
You chimed in. You chimed in.
I like Perry.
That's right.
All right.
Listen, I'm 40% female, 60% male. I've come to terms with that. 45. That's what Alicia
the look
and
on your
Grace.
face was just priceless.
Yeah, I know.
don't even know how to replicate. I don't know how to describe it.
It's a terrible truth.
It was
about me.
gorgeous. So John's obviously got more than one Star Wars. Is my
That's
guess.
why I
That's
date
fine.
masculine women.
That's fine.
All right.
Mine is 7 with Ryan Stone in Gravity.
This is a great choice. She's so fantastic in the
She
movie.
is. It's amazing. It's
And Clark's
you know,
right. It said space in her definition. This is in space.
Well,
It
it's
counts.
also
Technology.
Yeah, I don't know where it is, but it's not in the too distant future.
Right.
But it is fictional in that, like, it didn't happen. It's predicated upon science. But I mean, if you haven't seen it, do I think? Spoilers, obviously. But do I think she died before we got to that ending? Yes, I do.
Oh.
But her journey right up until that point was so moving and impressive and realistic. Like, it seemed as though this was all entirely probable. Plus, that's one of, I love space and whatnot, and I've thought about that before. If you just get set adrift, you will go forever, because if no force acts upon you, then you're just going to continue going in the trajectory you're in. And at one point, when she's just spinning at the start of that movie, I was like, oh, my God, that's a little ring of hell for me. I didn't enjoy that at all, but I was hooked early. Her performance is amazing.
I saw that fucker in 3D. And I have like a heights thing. I have a heights thing. And when she started spinning, I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. Like, it was just like too much, because she's so out of control and it's so realistic what Coron did. And I was just like, I can't handle what's happening here. It's so amazing. You think she dies?
Yeah. When Clooney comes back.
You think she's dead?
Because the problem is once you open up that hatch, you're going to freeze within, I think it's 30 seconds or something like that.
Wow.
And I think she did, because she hallucinates that as her last dying gasp, and then everything else is her landing back, is her, basically that's her expiring.
That's
the lighter it gets, the closer she's getting to death.
So when she's stepping on the beach, that's
dies.
her like in heaven or something?
Yeah.
I will say that when I first saw Gravity, I was really, I don't know why, I was just in a very bad mood. And so I was really mad at Gravity for being so positive at the end. I was like, what? Stop being so hopeful. Which is not my outlook on life, but for some reason I reacted very strongly to this very alleged upbeat ending. And I'm all for the alternate readings of, like,
That's what I thought in the theater when I saw it. It's like, oh, she's dead, and then it ends that way. And I was like, yeah. Because people say they see a light and they go to...
Yep.
I've heard other accounts where they just kind of flash through memories of their favorite things that have happened to them and whatnot. It's your brain losing all its function.
Yep.
But within that, it just... Man, that is a person literally striving. They're doing the best they can at every opportunity, and still nature defeats. Nature is going to win every time. And now you're in the vacuum of space. Go fuck yourself. And yes, I would gladly go to space tomorrow if you could go up there. No problem.
My God. Knock yourself out.
Yeah, no problem. Come on.
No.
Come on. To
I'll be here.
off of the Earth's surface and to experience interstellar life on some level.
I'm about to go skydiving with Perry, and I'm scared out of my fucking mind. I'm not getting
really?
in a
Skydiving is
rocket.
fun.
Are we going to videotape that? Is that going to be another
Yes, it's
challenge?
going to be one of her vlogs. She keeps trying to do weird things with me. I'm like the guy she's choosing all the time to go do this weird shit because she knows I'll freak out every time I do it.
It'll be for good, yeah.
Did you think she died at the? Did you like?
No,
This is the first time I've ever heard this reading. It's great.
Oh, really?
The first time I saw, I don't know if I saw it more than once, but I think upon thinking about it,
Yeah.
I definitely entertained those thoughts, and I like you've maybe heard me go on about this, but I think that War of the Worlds ends in the room with Tim Robbins and Tom Cruise.
Oh,
okay.
And
really?
I think that the rest of it is a fantasy. It's Wizard of Oz. He literally opens the door and there's color everywhere, exactly like when Dorothy walks into Oz. And all of a sudden, everything starts working out for him. And all of a sudden, he's a great dad. And all of a sudden, the robots are just
Wow,
not
that makes that
interested.
movie way better.
Yeah,
Holy
well,
shit.
I actually really do like War of the Worlds, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I've always thought that. So I'm into like those
That
readings
does explain
of
the
it.
ending because the War of the Worlds, when it ends, you're just like, that doesn't make a lick of fucking sense.
Well, and also
They were here for all those years, and they really
yeah.
didn't have the foresight to think of bacteria, virus, microorganisms. They're interstellar beings. Really?
Yeah, I
never bought that.
I can't
Yeah.
question H.G. Wells, but
I can. That's
but
fine.
Go ahead.
Man's dead. He's not going to
super
show
dead.
up and say anything.
He's so dead.
But speaking of H.G. Wells, if you are an avid listener of podcasts and you have not listened to Paul F. Tompkins' Dead Authors podcast, do yourself a favor. He'd stopped doing it, but he did it for 2 years. He played H.G. Wells interviewing all these dead authors, and he brought him back to life. And all these great comedians come in and play
Sure.
these dead authors. The greatest episode he has is a 2-part episode with Andy Daly. Is that the guy's name?
Yeah.
He plays L. Ron Hubbard for 2 episodes. It is.
Daly's got such a manic.
It's
he's such a happy, like, and
It's
it's bouncing off the
so
walls.
perfect, and he's laughing, and they got that deeper voice, and he's doing all this, and of course H.G. Wells, he's playing along because it's all improv, and it's incredible. He's just interviewing these people, and if you go, it's like a who's who of comedians who are there impersonating different authors. Thomas Lennon's on a few times.
Did he do a Mary Shelley?
Yes,
Who
he did
was
a Mary
Shelley? Do you remember?
I think it was. God, who was it? Was the Mary, the other one? She's an actress. She was in the Dave and Need Wedding Dates or whatever.
Oh, Aubrey Plaza or the other one?
No, and the one that was the sister, the one that was the mean sister, and she was mad about them getting together.
Oh.
She played Mary Holland. That's who played it, and she was on Veep this past season, playing Timothy Simmons' domineering wife or possible
Got it.
wife.
Got it.
I think she played, and she also played Virginia Woolf.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and then
she's-
they had one where he interviewed Confucius, and Eugene Cordero played it. Fuck, that's my second favorite episode. And Horatio Sands did Cervantes. It's just anyway,
God,
it's just brilliant. If
Yeah.
you haven't listened to it, it's worth your time if you like comedy. All right, what's your number?
My number 6 then is Louise Banks from Arrival. Anybody?
Fuck me.
She was on my honorable, but I didn't love Arrival the way everyone else did.
Oh, I'm a fan.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great movie.
We drank between the two of us the Villeneuve
Villeneuve Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid
Yeah.
a long time ago.
Matt, I'm ashamed that's not on my list. I'm fucking
Trust me,
ashamed.
man. Trust me. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. It happens to the best of us.
Damn
happens to the best
it, damn
of us. And it didn't happen to the better man this week. You know what I mean? It will happen to me in the very near future.
Hey, you left Incredibles off last week. That's right.
You didn't even think about it. I'm the one that at least thought about it.
I thought, oh my God, are you kidding? I thought about Incredibles already.
It's called revisionist history.
You
right there,
son
ladies
of a-
and gentlemen.
I totally
revisionist
did.
history. Anyway,
Yes.
Louise Banks
Anyway, Louise Banks.
in Arrival.
So good.
Yeah, she manages to give humanity to a story that could be really cold and distant, especially the way the set pieces and whatnot and the barrier between us. She humanizes and gives a realism to both, human beings, showing our compassion within that, and also, I guess, the human nature you would see in the aliens, at least another mental presence or some sort of soul or something, and it humanizes them as well. And that's just really, she is so good every time. It's amazing she hasn't won an Oscar yet. It is absolutely amazing.
It's fucking bullshit she wasn't nominated.
She's the best thing in a bunch of mediocre movies. Not mediocre, but average movies. And she's the best thing in a bunch of amazing movies.
Yeah.
How has she never been, be able to stand on that stage and just be like...
Emma Stone has an Oscar and she doesn't. It's mind-blowing.
And I like Emma Stone, but Amy Adams, to me, is a better actor. At least has been able to do more.
Oh, yeah.
Emma Stone will now get that opportunity.
I think she was nominated for Junebug. She just didn't win.
She was.
So she's been nominated. She just hasn't. I don't think she. Cause American Hustle too. I think she was nominated.
Was she nominated for Doubt?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think
for
Streep
Doubt.
got the nomination for Doubt.
Streep and Viola.
Fucking Streep.
Maybe
man.
Hoffman.
No offense, Streep, but damn it.
They might have gotten 2 and not.
Sure.
I think Viola did get nominated for Doubt. I think.
Okay.
She did too.
But anyway, her performance in Arrival is the reason why I love that movie. I mean, carrying that future and present story at the same time, and as it jumps back and forth, having that situation turn the way it does, and having her have to like come to terms with herself, having to kind of essentially fool Jeremy Renner the whole time through that marriage, like seeing her carry that weight as they go to those scenes, as they go to those kind of interactions. She's incredible. I mean, Amy Adams is, I don't know, you're right, Matt. People don't give her enough credit. Even as Lois Lane, I loved her as Lois Lane. You may argue the quality of the movies, but I love her as Lois Lane.
She's my favorite Lois Lane.
Wow. Strong statement.
It's not even close for me, though. It's really not. I'm not a fan of Superman.
Clark almost fell off the couch.
Yeah, the movie's not a fan.
She is not my favorite, though.
But what I loved about it, too, is seeing her, and when you get to the end of the movie, and at least I did, I asked myself, would I make the same choice that she did? And it was kind of hard to deny. As she went through it, knowing the sorrow that it would carry, having to make that choice, just like, yes. And then you understand why Renner was pissed.
Yeah.
And why, things unfolded the way they did.
Yeah. He was so mad.
Yeah, it was so good.
So she's been nominated for Junebug. She was nominated for Doubt.
She was? Okay.
She was nominated for The Fighter, for The Master, and American Hustle. But she's never won. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there it is. Good choice.
What do you got at 10?
What do you got? Me? That's right. My turn. So then my number 10 is the Borg Queen from Star Trek First Contact, Alice Krige. I think she's incredible as the Borg Queen in this movie. And it is a film. I hate all the New Generation movies. I hate the New Generation series. I'm an old school guy. I'm sorry to everybody who's a New Generation
Next
fan.
Generation, just so we don't get attacked.
It's a useless generation. Anyway, Next Generation. Don't get mad at me, TNG. I know people love the TNG, but I'm a big old school series fan. So to me, that's my crew. But this film, First Contact, was the only one that I liked of the New Generation movies, including Generations, because I love Shatner so much and still couldn't like that movie as much as I should have. But this Star Trek is fantastic. And what Alice Krige does, who I've been a fan of as an actress since Chariots of Fire in 82 or 81, to see her embrace this role and play the way she did and really like convey this combination of human and Borg at the same time and have that seductive nature to it, but powerfully seductive, not necessarily sexual only, also mental and emotional seduction that she does to Data through that whole movie. And her power is incredible, so that when things turn the way they do for her, you in a way you almost admire her in a way, because she's so incredible at what she's doing, and it's so the words, like people have described in books, the words drip off her mouth and out of her tongue, and you're just like, man, what is this doing in a Star Trek movie? So to me, it elevates that film from just a regular Star Trek Next Generation movie into something else. And I would liken it to Khan. I would liken it, that kind of performance as a villain in Star Trek. To me, those are the two best villains in any Star Trek movie, is Khan and the Borg Queen that Alice Krige plays. So that's why it's my number 10.
Does it bother you that she's a queen of a hive mind, so it's counterintuitive because they would just be a hive mind?
In what way?
In the Borg,
the
collective.
Well,
no one is bigger than the others, so why would you need a queen?
Oh, you always need a queen, man. You can't.
Hive mind.
Someone's got it. Someone's got to be pushing the buttons.
Need a queen?
Yeah, but they're true.
They're
but at the same
serving
time,
a higher purpose.
That's right.
That's their job as little worker bees.
Yeah, but there was no. I don't recall.
The way Clark said it, they're worker bees.
I just don't recall there ever having been mention of anything other than the collective. They are a collective group. Their strength is in the fact that they are just one machine together.
Well, she's the mind that drives them all.
Exactly.
So there has to be one mind.
I just
no. I think
popped up on the screen. She's
question.
excellent in it. I'm not taking it away, but I was sitting there just. Okay, isn't that counter to everything that they told us on the TV show?
It's a valid question.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they mentioned her before. I don't go as deep into that stuff.
Well, there was always that's a good question, because when Stewart got
into the Borg,
which they used in the movie, his memories of it, the line must be drawn here, is all that. It's fascinating to watch how they let him drive. So that's the thing. It changes who drives. So for this mission, it was the Borg Queen who drove this mission at this part for this movie. That's what I think it is.
Maybe.
Yeah. All right.
do
Anyway,
you got at
let's
9?
move on. My number 9 is Rachel from Blade Runner, Sean Young.
Sure.
Because people know I'm a massive fan of Blade Runner. To see her come back in 2049 was incredible. To see her, to go back and revisit that movie, she is still, for me, it still messes with me emotionally. It's like when you see something like that at a young age, it influences, I think, the kind of woman you may want to look for in life.
You do like masculine women.
I do. I
I mean,
she's very masculine.
I think we figured
I
it
do.
out.
It's not a lie. I do, and I really enjoy the way she is in that movie. And she gives as good as she gets from Harrison and from Rick Deckard. I know people sometimes now revisionist a little bit are like, well, he pushes her against the wall and all those kind of things. And I get that. I understand the complaint totally. But this is a noir in my mind, so like the women and the men are tough in noirs. You always see that. And so, like, if you see in Double Indemnity, you see that Barbara Stanwyck, I think, is the actress's name. You see, so they give as good as they get. You see that with Sunset Boulevard. She gives as good as she gets in Controlling William Holden, and so you see that here. She is as powerful as Deckard is. He is in love with her, but she does not want to confront this idea that she might be a replicant or that she is a replicant. And you see her go through the journey. Without her, the movie doesn't work. She's so beautiful and exquisite and worth saving that you believe Deckard violating all these laws of his well-held beliefs about himself, and also his grizzled, like, I give up on the world type approach. You see, you believe him giving it all up to save her.
Sure.
And so I enjoy her performance. Sean Young's performance. To me, it's still the greatest performance Sean Young's ever done and probably ever will do. And there's just a certain, how can I say this? It's tough porcelain. It can break at any moment.
Sure.
That's what it looks like, but it's tougher than you think. And that's what I appreciate about it. And it's very tough to do in a film like that. Anyone? No?
Agreed.
No, I think you said it beautifully.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, then my number 8 is Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy. Nothing. Wow, I'm striking out here.
Yeah, it's fantasy.
Did you guys call
Like
each other
superheroes.
before?
No, but I thought about that. I considered it because for me, Guardians. Well, you're fantasy. Yeah, it's basically Star
Once you
Wars.
pull in a tesseract and the collector has a different stone. And
Yeah,
they
but
see
they're all
that,
using science to do the things that they're doing.
maybe.
I didn't not include it because of those rules.
Yeah.
When I think about Guardians of the Galaxy, my favorite characters are not Gamora.
Oh, fair.
Oh no, I like her in it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, like, for me, in terms
Fair.
of my top 10 favorite women,
Yeah.
and like Guardians, I love that movie, but she's not my favorite thing in it. And
Gotcha.
I could think of 10 other characters that I like.
I think that's fair. It's all subjective for me.
Yeah.
I like her strength. I like Zoe's. I've just been a fan of Zoe for
great.
a long time. Yeah.
She's a great
What was the Crossroads? Was she in Crossroads? That Britney Spears movie? I think
Yes.
she was in.
Shut the fuck up, was she?
Yeah, she was
With
the other girl.
Taryn Manning
Yeah.
and Kim Cattrall.
Kim Cattrall, I'm not surprised by.
Cottrell.
She's her mom.
Shout out to Cottrell. Handling her business this week.
I mean,
I love this woman.
What did she do? I have no idea.
She said, Sarah Jessica Parker, stop. Because her brother just died. Cottrell's brother just died.
Okay.
So Sarah sent her some kind of message on social media, thinking about you, wishing the best for your family. And Kim Cattrall said, please stop contacting me. You were as evil then as you are now, and I don't want anything to do with you.
I don't believe Sarah Jessica Parker is evil.
There you go.
I don't buy it. I'm on Team SJP.
All right. I'm on
All
team-
right. Well, I don't have
I'm on
a
Team
I don't have a
Casey.
dog in this hunt.
I'm
So
on
or
Team
dog in this
Casey
fight, rather.
because I know she is. No. I'm just saying I liked her. Like, rarely do celebrities like break that wall of that veneer of
Kim Cattrall
saying
is
the right
not
thing.
Yeah.
trying to hide anything.
Nope.
At
Plus,
this point.
she knows
I
we
respect that.
we all know.
Yeah.
It's been 15 years of the same rumor. It's not this rumor hasn't changed.
Nope.
So the fact that it came out, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I anticipated this at
Own
some
it.
point.
We don't like each other.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's what it should be. All right. Anyway, what were we saying?
Gamora.
Oh, yes, Gamora. Fantastic performance from Zoe in this. And I like how powerful she is. And she doesn't play the normal thing of like giving into Star-Lord. Like she fights back. She
No.
pushes back. She forces him to come to her. She forces him to come to her. He has to adjust his normal, like smooth
she
talking
comes to him.
ways. And she does. She eventually does come to him. Like when he tries that stuff with the music, like she flips out, puts the knife to his throat. So she claims her presence, and she fights Nebula, and she fights Thanos in a way verbally, and Ronan, of course, eventually, and of course in the second movie just as well as what she fights Nebula all through that movie. They finally have their confrontation, and so as a character, I enjoy her very much, and I look forward to see what they do with her in Infinity War because she should be leading that team now. I mean, there's no reason Star-Lord should
she's
be
got
leading
first-hand
that team.
experience with Thanos.
That's what I'm saying. There's no reason he should be leading that team or Rocket. It should be Gamora. Gamora's the better fighter, the better tactician, the smarter person in that whole crew of people. Eventually, she's going to have to lead the damn team. It just doesn't make any sense to have, Star-Lord.
It is his ship, though. So he's got that going for him.
I guess. Hell yeah. But anyway, I enjoy her performance, so that's why I put her where I put her. All right, so let me see. Sorry, my focus.
Favorite? Are these our top 10 favorite, or are these
however you define it?
Top?
Yeah,
however you define it.
Okay,
we don't tell you how to do it.
Just for the audience.
That's fine.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, do how you do.
Yeah.
Continue.
So my number, 10, 9, 8, 7. My number 7 is another Zoe Saldana / Nichelle Nichols, Lieutenant Uhura. So she made the list because of Zoe, not because of Nichelle Nichols. That's the only
I would give it for that one. It's in my honorable mentions for her.
Right. I mean, Nichelle doesn't do much in the movies like she does on the TV series. They didn't give her much to do.
Yeah. 4 is the only one I can remember her doing anything.
Right.
Really.
Well, right. Oh, they all do something in 4,
exactly.
right?
They all split off and they're all doing something.
Exactly. Yeah. But like in 6, she's leading the investigation a little bit with Spock about whose shoes are where. So they give her little storylines to do. But in the TV series, she had the first interracial kiss. So there was so much about her that was more powerful in the TV series than in the movies. But that's why I think Zoe Saldana plays her the way they do, the way they wrote her. A lot more powerful. She goes toe to toe with Spock. She has that stuff with her and Zachary Quinto all through the first 2 movies. I guess a little bit in the third movie too. But I like the way Zoe plays her, and I like the way she portrays Uhura. Strength that isn't like strength. It isn't strong to be strong. She just is. That's all there is to it, and everyone has to deal with it. And she gives in when she needs to give in, but then she steps up and says what needs to be said when it needs to be said. And so I appreciate that about her very much. And so it made the character have more life for me, and I'm glad they did that this time around with this version of Star Trek. So that's what I will say. Anything?
Yeah, her interaction, she humanizes Spock in a way that I didn't think was really possible.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Especially like when her and Pine, Kirk, are in the elevator.
Oh, yes.
And she's like, I can't. And he's like, right? Just between the two of them, it's almost an unspoken, like, you fucking kidding me with this guy?
Yeah.
But they brought a realism to those characters that you just didn't really get to see in the first iteration.
And when you watch it, and then when they're in the ship going down in darkness, and he's like, Kirk is so uncomfortable being in between them, and they're having a couples fight that you sometimes will catch yourself in life, and you're like, I do not want to be here. I really don't want to be here. So, all right, then my number 6, and you guys will probably call it fantasy as well, is Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie in Thor Ragnarok. I absolutely love her.
I think that's a great one.
Yeah, it's just once they can fly.
Well, it says other planets.
True,
life on other planets.
The way I look at, if we're talking about specifically sci-fi, then sci-fi is just, there's no superheroes in sci-fi, to me.
I think there are a lot of heroes.
I feel like the parameters are like squiggles.
They are. There's no hard and fast. It's how you define it.
But and if I had thought of that, I might have added it.
Really?
But I have no superheroes on my list, though. I have no Star Wars, and I have no superheroes.
Me as well.
That's fair. Okay. Well, I apologize.
Trust me, there's numerous people.
I do.
There's numerous people listening going, of course she counts.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
And she just rocked.
Yeah.
Ragnarok. She was amazing in that movie.
I have such she has my heart. Like Tessa Thompson in anything I will go see, because I saw her in Creed. First time I ever saw her in anything was Creed.
Okay.
And I'm like, who is this? Like, who is this as an actress? Who is this as a performer? Who is this? She's beautiful. She's very just powerful energy, man. And so when I saw her in Thor Ragnarok as Valkyrie, and then when you get it's great. Her opening is so funny, and she's drunk, falling down. That's hilarious. And then to see her, but she's still tough as nails and does what she's so confident in herself. You love that. And then when you see why the way she is, when she gets the mind thing from Loki, and you go back and you see one of the most incredible visual slow motion images you'll ever see, or video images you'll ever see.
Yeah.
All of that, basically, right?
Yeah.
And all of that, and then you see it all within her. It's all there when she plays it afterwards, because Loki woke it back up in her. And so you see her playing it through the rest of the movie. And when she comes off that ship after they crash into the Rainbow Bridge and she is strutting in slow motion, sweet Jesus Christ.
It's the best GIF/GIF, whatever you say. I don't want to hear it, internet.
Absolutely.
It's so good.
It's GIF.
Absolutely. It's GIF, right?
It's GIF.
Do you say GIF or GIF?
It is technically GIF.
I know.
Right.
Generated image format.
But
I understand.
I agree. I say GIF in my personal
GIF.
life.
Yeah.
But
That's-
don't at me, Internet.
We all say it.
Yeah.
Those that are right, guess what? Language conforms to how people say it.
Exactly.
So it's pronounced GIF.
It ain't a fucking peanut butter. It's
It's
GIF.
not.
I agree.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, that her strutting through, and then her battle scenes, all her fighting, it's just incredible. So when they talk about doing an all-female Marvel's superhero, I'm all on board with this idea because I'd love to see her do it with Scarlet and maybe Brie Larson once Captain Marvel comes out. Like, you put them all together, and hell yes, I would be their opening night. You know, Tessa has anything Tessa does, I go see now. Like Annihilation, she's in this. I'm looking forward to seeing her in this. So, all right, is that my 6?
I think that's your 6.
All right, Clarke,
Okay.
start us out.
Great. So I'm going to start out with one that nobody's going to agree with me who listens to this podcast. But that's okay because she really is one of my favorites. And I think that the movie became about so much more than it actually was. And I think she did not get overlooked, but I think the movie has gotten forgotten. And that is Holtzman in Ghostbusters 2016.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I love Kate McKinnon just in general. But one of the things that I loved about Holtzman was, as a kid who grew up watching the original Ghostbusters, like, we can't forget that these are nerdy, weird scientists who get laughed at and mocked, and they're on the outskirts of whatever, of you know, their academic world. And Kate McKinnon as Holtzman, to me, embodied all of that weirdness. And she, you know, and she is funny. Like, Kate McKinnon is just funny. Yeah. And, you know, I remember her talking about making this movie and about her saying that one of the things she loved, and I know this sounds really silly, is that Paul Feig let the actors wear their hair up. Because most women, when they're just out doing what they do, like, they throw their hair up and then they go do a run.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was a really cool, like, because when you're working in the lab, of course you're not going to have like beautiful
your hair in the way.
Yeah, exactly. And additionally, for me, that was the year, or within the last year, like within the year of Ghostbusters coming out and Force Awakens coming out, I got to see a woman really crush a lightsaber, and I got to see a woman really crush a proton. Like, she just with her thing, and it was really that last sequence, especially it's a wide shot from the side, and she is just blasting the shit out of that thing. It was great. It was so cool. And so Holtzman is my number 10.
Yeah, I love that. It's a great choice.
Good choice.
And that's why. Next up is Veronica, known as Ronnie, in The Fly. David Cronenberg's The Fly.
Great choice.
The Fly is such a great science fiction horror movie.
Damn it.
And it is all about, as we know, like, the danger of science and the danger of what we're capable of. But Gina Davis, and I've been on a Gina Davis kick lately because of the podcast, because rewatching A League of Their Own and rewatching Thelma and Louise and rewatching her just in general. And Gina Davis, you know, yes, it's true, like, she and David Cronenberg were, I don't know if they were married at the time, but they were in a relationship when they were making that movie. And the rumor is, or the story is, that it was Jeff Goldblum who suggested her for that role. And I think
So Goldblum and her were having
they were in a
not
relationship.
Cronenberg. You said Cronenberg.
Yeah, you said that's
I'm
what I
sorry.
was
I'm
confused.
so sorry.
Yeah.
I misspoke.
No, it's okay.
I'm not breaking any 30-year-old
love
standards
triangle
here.
on set.
No. I'm sorry. Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis were either dating or married.
They were
at that
dating.
time.
Yes. I remember that.
And Jeff Goldblum suggested Gina for that role. I think because they had been having a really hard time finding someone who could play opposite him.
Yeah, no surprise.
And she is the heart and strength and sadness and emotional core of that movie. Without her, the devastation that you feel at the end of that film, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And Gina Davis is just, you know, when I interviewed her for Nightmares about The Exorcist, it was so cool to talk to her about her history and genre, just in general. And between Beetlejuice and The Fly and now The Exorcist and a number of other weird things that she has done. And she was just so down. Like, she's just like, she thinks it's cool cool. She likes this stuff. And I also was like, that's cool. So, yeah, so Ronnie is my number 9.
Yeah, they met on Earth Girls Are Crazy.
Right. Earth Girls Are easy.
Sorry, Earth
yeah.
Girls Are Easy. Yeah, they
They're
met on
probably
the. Well, they met on that, and I remember that, and then they went on from there because it was such a weird movie with her and,
and Jim
Cyndi Lauper does the
Yeah, Jim
song.
Carrey,
and Jim
Damon
Carrey's in it.
Wayans.
Damon Wayans, that's
I
right.
think there's 2
Julie
aliens in
Brown, the
yeah,
white
so-
Julie Brown was in this one instead of the black Julie Brown who does the VJ.
Yeah,
who's the
Yeah.
DJ,
downtown, Julie Brown.
So this film, man, you're so right, Clark. It's one I go back to all the time. The Fly is like her crying at the end, like is when she has to do what she has to do, and him like that creature raising the shotgun to his head,
Yeah.
and then. And she loves him. Like, she loves him. Even when he cheats on her, even when he's going through the shit that he's going through, she is this bigger person because she knows there's something here. I mean, like, that smarmy dude's been chasing her the whole time. And then, like, when she has to go in, when he does what he does and steals her away, like, she's carrying his baby. And
That's
so,
that's
much about
that's
it.
what I was about to say
Yeah.
is that like that stuff is so science fiction and body horror often go hand in hand.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my honorable mentions, and you guys can at me all you want, but I like Prometheus and Elizabeth Shaw.
Absolutely.
She's on my honorable mentions, but there are similarities in terms of the body horror and female body horror that can be explained or I'm sorry, experienced through science fiction in both Prometheus and The Fly. And so yeah, I love that.
That abortion scene.
Yeah.
My
Yeah, she's
God.
the best part of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
sure.
Bar none.
For sure. Okay, next up is Rita, Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, God
that
damn,
is called
I quit.
a punt.
Really?
That is called a punt.
I gotta get it. I clearly have a terrible list, and I should
It's
leave
not
the
even a
fucking
terrible.
podcast.
It's just you have your list.
God damn it! Those are
list.
great choices.
That's called a punt. How dare you?
Damn it!
How dare you?
Emily Blunt.
It's really not
Yeah,
that huge, but it's
son
enough.
of a.
Oh, all right, we'll punt.
I quit.
Okay, next, number 7 is now this is a bit of a just go with me here. Her name is Suan in Train to Busan.
Yeah, nice choice.
So she's the little girl.
Yeah.
The little girl in Train to Busan. And
You got to see this, Matt.
I have not.
Yeah.
I've told the story a million times. The audience at Nightmares was like, Clark, have you seen Train to Busan? It's the greatest zombie movie of the last 10 years. And I was like, I don't care because I'm over zombies. I never need to see another zombie movie again. But finally, I was like, okay, fine. I'll watch it.
How do they become zombies?
You don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
It just starts, and it's like some epidemic. You see it on the
Okay.
news.
That's all I wanted.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's still real as opposed to like
Yes.
some.
No.
It's like it's an epidemic.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
And it
presented
happens
as an
quickly,
epidemic.
and people are traveling as it starts to break
It's
out.
the best way.
and
Once
it starts-
28 days later, figured it out. Like running.
Yeah.
You got to run, and that makes it worthwhile.
But Suan, this little girl is she delivers a performance that kids don't act like that most of the time in US movies.
Yeah.
And like the relationship she has with her dad it's not just like what I love about this little girl in particular is that this is not a cute kid is in trouble.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so her dad like there is a true arc for her relationship with her father and the people that they meet and encounter along the way. And and also I think it's hard for kids. Like, I mean, just geez Louise. The Girl with All the Gifts is another one of my honorable mentions.
Oh, yeah.
All the women in that movie are just outstanding. But I chose her because she was a very special. I also thought about the little gal. I know this sounds really silly, but the little girl in Pacific Rim, the young version.
Oh, yeah.
Like I love that scene
Yeah.
so much. No, it's not my top 10 favorite, whatever. But like I was thinking this thought process, and so but Suan is fabulous.
No, and you're right. And she's the impetus for the whole damn movie. Because the dad never gets on the train if she doesn't say, I want to go see my mom. I don't want to be here anymore. You're a selfish business guy who doesn't give a crap about me. That's why mom left you. And it's her birthday. And this is my birthday wish. And so they have to get on this train. And none of this happens if she doesn't guilt that son of a bitch into getting on the train.
Because he's the worst.
He is the worst. And through the whole movie, he's a pretty big asshole.
the whole
And
way.
she is the only one that humanizes him until eventually he does these things near the end. But it's Same thing with Clarke. People tweeted at me to watch this thing, and I'm like, I'm not the biggest fan of horror films. I don't know if I want to see a zombie thing.
It's got to be exceptional.
And it's Korean.
And it's Korean.
Long.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is a long.
It is a long movie.
It's fine so long as it's good. Old
is.
Boy.
But it moves.
Watch the real Old Boy. Boom. It's
Old
it's not
Boy's
even close.
great.
It's night and day. But
Yeah.
All right. Finally, number 6 for this round is Joanna Eberhart from the Stepford Wives.
Ooh.
Now,
Okay.
Which one, the remake or the original?
The original,
Okay.
1975.
Fair.
This is Catherine Ross in this role. And it's spoilers why this is science fiction.
I mean, it's 75.
Yeah.
It's like also, 50
it's
years old.
based on a book.
Yes.
That came out long before that, so
Yes,
go right ahead.
Yes, so spoiler
It's fine.
alert.
Yeah.
But look, this movie, God, was it ahead of its time and still so relevant. And Catherine Ross is great in this role. So this is a woman who is artistic and cool and excited and passionate and quirky and weird, but also a mom and like all these things. And she just resists the whole way. And there is a monologue towards the end. I mean, you guys, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen it, like, you know the end of Stepford Wives. And if you don't, just fast forward like 30 seconds. But there's this little bit where she's basically begging her husband, please don't do this. Please don't get rid of me. Please don't replace me. Yeah. And the line that it gives me like goosebumps every time was, because she's a photographer, she says, there'll be someone with my name and she'll cook and clean like crazy, but she won't take pictures and she won't be me.
Yeah.
And it is just like the saddest thing. And it's written by Ira.
It's the same guy who did Boys from Brazil.
And he did Rosemary's Baby. He wrote the novel Rosemary's Baby.
I read Boys from Brazil. I read Stepford Wives. That was years ago.
And it's a lot of similar
Ira
themes
Glass,
to Rosemary's Baby.
Ira,
It's not
Glass.
No.
Maybe.
Ira Levinson? Is that right? I think William Goldman wrote the script. But anyway, this is a really timely, awesome movie. And if you liked something like Get Out, let's say, Jordan was
it's very akin to that.
Very outspoken about Rosemary's Baby and Stepford Wives being a huge influence on Get Out.
Yeah. Ira 11.
There you go.
Ira 11. There you go.
So yeah, Joanna is my number 6.
That's a great choice. Catherine Ross, fantastic actress.
She's so good.
People don't nobody says it. Like, they all, when we talk about her, everybody goes, oh, but no one calls her like one of the greatest actors that, like, Butch Cassidy Sundance Kid.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Graduate.
The Graduate. This film. She was in so many great, incredible, and she's still working.
Beautiful.
Like, I just saw her in that film with Sam Elliott last year, where he's a voiceover guy and he's going through this crisis of conscience because they're together.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Catherine Ross and Sam Elliott are together,
I
and
love that.
so he cast her, or like, I mean, obviously she wanted to be in the film, and it's a
Sure.
small independent film. I forget it's called. It's called The Man or the whatever. And he's an old Western. He's living off being an old Western guy in a movie, and now he has a renaissance, and it's about him confronting his renaissance, even though he just does voiceovers now because he's being honored by this cowboy organization, and so
No, Sam Elliott. They cast Sam Elliott in this part. You're crazy.
It was
right?
a stretch. But Catherine plays his ex-wife in the movie, and they have a child, and who is Kristen Ritter.
Okay.
And so he's trying to connect with
That's
her.
great casting.
Yeah,
She
it's
looks
in
just
it.
like her.
It's one of these small films that comes along, and like people don't. Nobody goes to see it, but I'm glad it gets made because the people that do see it enjoy it and understand. It's like Lucky. Lucky was the same way. That Harry Dean Stanton one. Nobody went to see it, but it was The Hero. It's called The Hero. So if you haven't seen it, rent it. Trust me, you'll
will
enjoy
watch
yourself.
that one.
And the girl from Scientology plays his girlfriend, and they confront the old guy with the young girl type
Girl
thing.
from Scientology, Elizabeth Moss.
No,
Yeah, who's Juliette Lewis?
we're getting closer.
Well,
She was in
clearly-
TV shows,
Leah
70s
Remini?
show.
Oh, Laura Prepon.
Oh,
Laura
Prepon.
Prepon. Yeah, Prepon plays. So it's interesting. Anyway, all right. So there you go.
Cool.
Matt, we're
So
up to you.
my number 5, Ava from Ex Machina.
Good
Anybody?
choice. Good choice.
Nobody?
Jesus.
Really, it's in my top 5. And
Great
it's
choice.
Neither of your list.
Alicia Vikander, yep.
Nope.
So good. Are you kidding me?
Alex Garland is all over
So
my
good.
list.
So good. It's still though to have an audience sit there and side with her, and ultimately though by siding with her you may have condemned yourself. Ultimately, it's like, oh Jesus Christ, that's such a great mindfuck.
Yeah.
It's such but to watch her bring just a collection of parts to life and you actually you feel emotionally for this character and the plight that she is put in, especially when you, in essence, understand that Oscar Isaac is just this deranged billionaire playboy who's now been living in a fantasy which he's created for how long? And then Domhnall Gleeson comes in and just sees the madness. There's the brilliance and genius in there, but now it just evolved into, he's akin to Brando in I'm about to say In Hard Darkness, Apocalypse Now. Yeah, he's got his own little fiefdom, and he's just created, and he gets to do whatever he wants in this secluded little world. Mm-hmm. And who wouldn't want to break out? And you see that character, and you're like, yes, you identify in the connection that she has with Domhnall and just the overall arc. I found that performance within that movie itself, just fascinating and excellent.
It's the first time I saw her in anything, and you're right, she's incredible. And
she's a face. That's it.
The natural progression of it, though, right? Because logically, if you're going to create the best model, like because you see later on in the movie all the other versions of her.
Yeah, there has to be previous.
Right? So logically, that if you create the best model of it, it will want to break out. It's AI. It's going to eventually figure out a way to get the hell out of there. And she does. She figures it out because she seduces Domhnall Gleeson and that whole situation. And we're the audience. We're Domhnall Gleeson. Like, Domhnall Gleeson's us. Because we're like, what? And we're seeing Oscar Isaac doing those weird dance moves and all this kind of stuff with all this.
Yeah, like with his sex robots.
Right.
You feel bad for her.
Yes, exactly.
But you're like, ultimately, you shouldn't be doing that, though.
Right.
It's not a good thing because...
And then the switch is, who's the real robot? Who's the person behind the glass for real? And when that switch happens, you're like, ding. So it's such a good, and she's great.
Yeah.
You're right. Just
Blown
the face and blows. Yeah. Right.
I don't know what else she was in before this.
The Theory of Everything?
Oh.
That came after, didn't it?
Did it? I don't know. I think they were the same year.
They were the same year, but I think it was released like 3 months later.
Release-wise, yes.
Is that the Hawking one?
Yeah, the Stephen Hawking.
I haven't seen
Ray
that
Main
one.
won an Oscar for.
I have not seen that one.
What did she win her Oscar for?
I do not know. Maybe that.
Carol?
I think that one.
Really?
It wasn't Carol.
It wasn't Carol?
I think I think he was the only one that won from that movie.
Let's go to the phone.
Because I was blown away by the fact it was one of those.
He had no business winning that year.
No, he did not.
Not after what he turned into.
In the
Jupiter
momentum
ascending.
before, like 2 weeks out, was like Redmayne is going to win this. And you're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, it's good. I'm not denigrating his performance,
Right.
But the caliber he was up against that year, I'm sorry, I failed to see how.
The Danish Girl.
That's what she won for. I got that confused with Carol. It felt like the same movie.
Also with Eddie Redmayne, though.
Yes.
So there you go.
They work well together.
They sure do, don't they? Don't they just?
Okay, so what's your number?
So
Don't tell
my number-
Fassbender. Don't tell Fassbender.
Oh,
Yeah, what's your
boy.
number?
My number 4 is a punt from earlier, Rita from Edge of Tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
God damn it. I'm mad I don't have this on my list.
It's such a good movie.
It is a great movie,
Such
man.
a good movie.
This is top 10 stamp approved, this movie. We've
Yeah.
talked about it many times.
Came out, nobody was talking about it.
Yeah.
They didn't like the title. They tried to change it after they released it,
Yeah.
and then they changed it back to Edge of Tomorrow.
Live,
I
die,
couldn't
and
believe
repeat.
it didn't do huge numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge, just blown away. And she, the character of Rita, more than holds her own. Because once she gives the reveal, for those of you that haven't seen it, I don't want to tell you, but the reveal of what Tom Cruise is experiencing and the fact that, basically the synergy within their two storylines thereafter, on some level, you could say it diminishes her character, like by her ability, but at the same time, it does not at all because you understand what it took her to get to that point, and what the sacrifice was, and now what she knows that has been taken away from her as well, and to pull all that off, the complexity of it within an action film, a sci-fi action film, is amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
and I love the ending. I know that I think the original one was a darker, bleaker. We don't win this out in the end.
Yeah.
But I thought it was actually one of the few times where happy ending seemed the most reasonable for this movie.
Yeah. And if you even call it a happy ending, because he's mapped into this thing now for the rest of his life.
Happier.
Well, I don't want to ruin too much of it, but happier, right?
Happier.
Exactly. Happier. Yeah.
Could be worse.
Yeah, it could be way, way worse.
Right. But what's incredible is Emily Blunt is just one of these actresses that no matter what she does, she is believable.
Yeah, that's true.
From beginning to end, even in some 5-year engagement, you're like, what? This film's okay. You believe her, when she does romantic comedies.
Devil Wears Prada.
Devil Wears Prada, of course.
She's Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
To think that girl is the same girl from this movie
that's it. Yeah.
is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
She's great.
You saw this coming, this kind of action here, tough as nails, icon of the revolution.
So jacked, too.
Yeah, and I love the imagery from it. She's holding this like anime-ish sword, this huge, ridiculous like Metal Gear 3 or something. I don't know video games, but that's the first name that came up. It's definitely not Metal Gear anyway.
Yeah, don't get mad, people who play.
But just a huge like sword, and you're like, that looks so ridiculous. And then you see it in the movie and be like, hell yeah, she swings. Like I 100% believe she is wielding that with the force, accuracy, physicality of anybody that should be able to wield that.
Yeah,
I mean, top to bottom, such a good movie.
And like the film doesn't fall into the cliche of the romance. I like that it doesn't necessarily go that route, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and Tom Cruise's pathetic character at first.
Yeah, like
you don't want to send me, guys.
I wish
that
Tom Cruise, like, there was a quick period, and I hope that the new Mission Impossible is a return to this, because The Mummy was not, and
God no.
And also, I didn't see that American-made movie, but it also
is damn good.
Is it good?
It's surprising.
It's better than you think it's going to be.
Good, because the characterization, it looks like I like Tom Cruise playing into what the audience knows and having fun with that.
Yeah.
The Mummy was a complete reversal to, no, I'm a 60-year-old hot action star, and it's like, you are embarrassing yourself.
Yes.
Sit down. And
I agree.
The trailer for American Made, to me, and you guys are not the first people to tell me that the movie is good. So I can't, to be fair, I can't judge, but the trailer looked like, why are you married to a woman that looks like your daughter?
Yeah.
Like, this is, and why are you trying to act like this, like you're this, I don't know. It just the trailer
she has
looked
the upper
ridiculous.
hand in the relationship, so you don't.
But I agree with you in that it is something you have to kind of come to terms with when you watch it, because she does look like his daughter. And
Yeah, but I didn't find it so jarring.
Well, it's like Woody and Abby Cornish in 3 Billboards. That really fucking bothered me, Woody with Abby, because I was like, she's 30 years your fucking... And you don't even explain it in the movie at all, how she ends up being with you. It was weird. And she kept her accent, which was weird because she's Australian. And I'm like, what is this? What is this? What are you doing? But in this...
Edge of Tomorrow, it's like he plays into those gags, and I like that.
Yep.
Like, it's a very cool performance from him.
He does that in American Made. A lot of times he's the butt of the joke through the whole movie.
Then good.
Yeah,
I will
works.
watch it then.
Yeah, it's good. It's a 2-act movie.
Great, even better.
It's...
Yeah.
What I'm saying, it doesn't have the hero's arc.
Yeah.
It just kind of has chapter 1, chapter 2, and you're out.
Yeah.
Cool.
It doesn't ask much of you, but at the same time, it's not trying to deliver the world either.
It's entertaining as hell.
Yeah, exactly.
In every way, the Mummy wasn't.
I didn't even see it because everybody I know that saw it.
It's so
like,
bad.
I'd be like, nah.
And that poor woman playing his wife or playing his love interest. I was like, Jesus, he's acting like he's 30. He's 60.
They call him young man in the movie. It is laughable. It is comical.
So
like
agreed.
That's how you know that you have unchecked power.
Yeah.
When a room full of people aren't like, should we say something?
When Lucas walks in and drops the first script for the prequels and everyone stands up clapping and you go, you're all lying. You're all lying.
Well, they haven't read it at that point, so of course they have to be like, brilliant. It's going to be brilliant. It's going to be brilliant. The best is after the first screening when everybody's sitting in there and he's like, it's got some problems. Can we fix that in editing? It's just the editor's like, we can do something in editing kind of thing.
I think we can do something.
Like, it's so great. Everybody's look is just like, what the fuck did we just watch? That's my favorite.
What
part.
have we done?
Yeah.
Is that your 3?
That was my 4. My 3 is Imperator Furiosa.
Oh,
Punt?
I can't do this anymore. All right.
Punt.
All right.
What?
These are great choices.
You just
Did you
didn't even
forget
make
about
your...
Furiosa?
Okay.
Didn't even think, because to me that's not science fiction, and then it is. So
It's set in a dystopian
I know.
future here on Earth.
I know.
This is good because we're having a really comprehensive
Yes, I would agree with that.
list. Everybody's getting 30 very different movies.
I'm the LCD, the lowest common denominator. You two are the very intelligent choices. So proceed.
I can't argue with any of them.
Was it my
Some
turn?
would say your sample size is a little small, but I think we would disagree with those individuals and say it seems right on the money.
All right.
What do you got at 5?
Hopefully this saves my list a little bit. Trinity from the Matrix movies.
Yeah,
It's an honorable mention.
Jesus Christ, you're both crazy. She is incredible in this in these movies. Probably better than Keanu in these movies. Really.
Okay, let's not go too far.
Come on, I'm telling you.
Let's
the
not go
truth.
too far.
Please.
I like him and Fishburne better than her in this.
What?
Yeah.
You like Fishburne better?
Yes.
Even in all the movies, or just the first?
All three
one?
of them.
Really? Even when he walks out, and goes, "People hear me." When he's talking right before they do the rave, he's ridiculous.
I don't buy their love.
He's got an ever-expanding belly through the whole 3 movies. It's ridiculous.
I don't buy their love.
You don't buy their what?
I don't buy their love.
Really?
No.
All right.
I'll be honest, The Matrix never landed for me.
Yeah, the first one was like, this is amazing, and then 2 or 3 were like, thank you for your money.
I can watch The Matrix and appreciate all of the innovation that it brought.
Okay.
And launching just every stylized action movie for the decade after that. Like, it's incredible the impact that The Matrix had, and I appreciate that. But it just never landed for me.
That's incredible. It landed so hard for me that it changed my whole approach to movies. Like at that time in '97, because I was still trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. I was in college.
Yeah, that first one's
incredible.
It blew my mind.
Yeah, no one anticipated it was going to be amazing.
Hell no.
No.
To be that amazing?
And she starts the movie.
Yeah.
She's a badass right from the beginning.
After that is when it just starts to devalue for me.
Really?
Yeah.
She guides him through the whole journey. She's tough. She's holding the secret. She's hiding the secret from him through the whole movie. And then, he fights for her and then realizes what she is, which is like the love. And then love is what saves. You were talking about love in Fifth Element, love in The Matrix. Love is always what it comes back to. She brings him back to life in the first one. He brings her back to life in the second one. And in the end, he sacrifices for all of them.
Oh, good.
But
now I don't have to watch the other two.
Oh, my God.
You don't want to. That's the problem. Because after you walk out of 2...
No, she's just doing this semester.
I know. But after you walk out of 2, you're like, okay, it's going somewhere. And then you walk out of 3 and you're like, motherfucker.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. Yeah, but she stays consistent and she's strong. She is smart.
She is.
She's ahead of the game in almost every situation that they're in. She knows better, but no one listens to her. And she's always ahead of the game in the situation. And she fights and she sacrifices herself. She's a badass through the whole movie. Plus, not a lot of people pull off that leather, especially.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? And who saw Carrie-Anne Moss coming? No one saw Carrie-Anne Moss coming.
No.
And she's incredible in that. So.
That's Memento straight into this.
Right. All right, fine. Clearly, you all hate my list. All right, next one is a Star Wars person. Her name is Rey.
Yeah, Rey.
And I'm sorry it's not on any of your lists.
She would have been on my list if I did Star Wars people.
I consider science fiction, Star Wars science fiction fantasy.
It's magic. She has magic. She can manipulate the physical world around her through her mind.
But it's science that's powering those vehicles. It's science that's powering the ships. It's science that they're
can magic
life
that
on
ship
other
out of the
planets.
air.
It clearly says it on the definition. Yeah, that's the future. It says long time.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Right. We don't know that, though. We don't know for sure.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Time bends upon itself. I've read those.
Time is a flat circle.
Who knows?
Someone very smart told me that one time.
Anyway,
Look,
I love Rey in all these movies.
Infinite things are possible. So
True. There we go.
there could be a world where that could happen.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
But that's one. Now we're asking Galaxy to have that ability.
The galaxy is certainly possible. Every galaxy determines its scientific tenets, right? Isn't that right?
Oh yeah, really? Is there a ecumenical council and they all sat down and they agreed upon the rules of physics?
Listen, I believe in life on other planets, and I'm sure they're a lot smarter than us. So they've got other things that they're measuring.
Well, that's an escape clause for every argument. Listen, the seers on other planets made it that way.
That did not go out of business. No,
Dude, how flat is the world in your book?
no, the world's not flat in my book.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe the world is round. I don't know why the flat earthers are coming back.
I was about to say, oh, you believe facts? Good job.
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe
you
facts.
believe the truth, the facts, the way it is? Great.
Listen.
I saw a map of the flat Earth and the current thinking.
Yeah.
The most predominant theory apparently is the North Pole is at the very center of this disk, and then the South Pole, Antarctica, just wraps around in this ice barrier, and that's what holds the oceans in. And I was like, wow. So what's on the other side of the ice?
If those people dedicated just a fraction of the brain power to justify this, to like curing cancer or fixing real problems, like how much further?
Do you want somebody that's thinking about this fixing a real problem? I don't.
The mental gymnastics
What's their solution
on
going to be?
display. There's
Sounds like
so
a Darwin
much
Award waiting to happen.
It's just whatever. Anyway, Rey.
Remember that woman I dated?
She's amazing.
She lived in people that
gorgeous.
She believed in people living in the middle of the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Legitimately did. Legitimately did.
But that's the more plausible of the two things that she believed to me.
What was the other
as
one?
implausible as that is.
Like
The moon
the other-
is a spaceship.
Moon is a hollow space station.
Yes.
And that's...
Yes. She legitimately believed.
That's the one where I'm like, oh, okay.
She dropped it on the third date. Could not believe it. We were having a great time getting to know each other. She's like, I got to tell you this before we go forward. Everyone needs, and then she just went on this whole thing. I think my first reaction was,
she was kidding.
yes. I said to her, if you, stop, you're a joke. She's like, no, this is really what I believe. And
What a wonderful Andy Kaufman sense of humor she must have had.
Right.
It was like she's gonna do method comedy for the next 3 days.
That's what I thought, and I said, "Is this? Do you really believe this? Like, if you don't want to date anymore, you can just tell me. This seems outrageous to go to this level. I'm okay with you saying, She's like, no, I actually it's the opposite. I do want to keep dating you, but I need you to know this about me. I need to know that you're going to be okay with this. And I'm like, I'm like, okay. And you know what? We get along so well. I was like, maybe I could be okay with this. At my age, I shouldn't be so choosy. Will you send me websites? So she sends me these websites that she like, and I was like,
They're like GeoCities.
I was gonna say, how many were GeoCities?
They're terrible GeoCities.
Glitter
Like,
font
the litter,
and shit.
the words are on top of
Music
themselves.
just playing from
It's
somewhere and you can't
nuts.
figure out where to turn it off.
Yes.
Did she believe in the animals? Like, what do they call them? The Kong Skull Island, right? And the the
Oh,
giant
yeah.
animals that live in the
Sure.
ocean.
So something
there's a
like
name for it.
Yeah.
Crypto.
Yeah, cryptozoology is
Yes.
for
Cryptozoology.
like Bigfoot and
Yeah.
Loch Ness
Yeah.
Monster.
Did she believe in that?
Yes.
Okay,
Probably.
that's fun.
That
She believed in
extends,
all
yeah,
that,
from
yeah.
I would be
subterranean
like,
people.
Let's talk
Sure.
more about that.
Well, it was so interesting because she would say like there are. I go, well, how can they live in the middle of the earth when they're so close to the core? She goes, how do you know the core is hot the way it is? And I go, because the scientists have done. She's like, we don't believe in that. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to disregard what the people that are supposed to know what they're talking about say,
Yeah, they
then
think
so be it.
The people who, because her dad raised her on whatever this commune was or whatever it was, and that's what they're raised to believe. And otherwise, she's a very normal person. She does for pregnant women. She does these bus or what do they call it? Plaster things of their
Plastic
bellies,
cast.
plastic cast of their bellies. Her best friend is the guy who on 30 Rock, the actor who was with the big eyes, the gay guy who sings.
McBrayer?
Not Kenneth. He was the good-looking, like ingenue kind of guy that came in the later seasons.
I haven't watched the
with
show.
big eye, good-looking dude. He's on Broadway all the time. He works all the time, and they're good friends. And I was shocked at all of this. And she is the sweetest person on the planet. Sweetest person on the planet. She's a life coach. Everything. And it was madness. It was madness.
Take her license away. What?
You don't have to be licensed for that.
Well,
Where's the licensing board for that to be a
take
life
her
coach? I want to
WordPress
see that fucking test.
away.
Can you
Take
come up
her
with 10
business
positive affirmations in
cards.
30 seconds?
She should not be coaching anyone's
Oh, my
life.
God.
What is happening?
That's brilliant. It was the life lessons. Anyway.
God. Yeah.
Anyway, Ray.
We love her. She's great.
It's great.
So great.
What Daisy Ridley was able to do to walk into a Star Wars property, nobody knew she was. Having been a guest spot on 6 TV shows, no one had really known who she was. To step in and take on this property in such a confident and powerful way for such a young person.
Yeah.
To step into this situation and in essence try to live up to the legacy of what Carrie Fisher had left, and to a lesser degree what Natalie Portman had left with Padme. There is to step in and create this sudden character, and this character doesn't need anybody. She does not need anybody. She's self-sufficient. She has learned to live on her own. She gets thrust into this whole situation, but she never loses who she is, even when she's on the Falcon, even when she's, going toe-to-toe with, what's-his-face, Kylo. She never loses who she is, and constantly pushing back, constantly fighting. Like, she doesn't need to be even rescued. When they launched this whole rescue mission to get her, she's already saved herself, right? So much so that Boyega's like, wait, we came for you. And she's like, no, I'm fine. I can handle myself. And it happens the same thing in the second movie as well, even more so, even more powerfully. She goes and confronts Luke. She pushes Luke. She makes him step up to the plate when he doesn't want to, when he's stuck being all bitter and sad about the shit that happened to him with Kylo. She's the one that's like, I want to find out the truth. And when she has these connections with Kylo through the whole movie, she's incredible. She's luminescent. And so for me, this is why I enjoy her so much. And I would watch, I went to see Murder on the Orient Express twice just to see her because I enjoy her. I don't even find, like, it's not attractiveness to me. It's just that she's great to watch.
How
And so,
was that?
I loved it. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I really did.
I almost saw it in the theater. My wife and I, she was like, if that's any good, we should go see that. And then I heard so much mixed stuff, and she's like, we'll rent that one. I'm like, all right, that's fine.
I think rental is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's fine or a matinee at best. Because that mustache of his is you really got to get past that.
Yeah,
he was working.
Everybody has their own eccentricity.
Yes.
At least so it seemed.
Especially with Poirot when you're playing Poirot. All right, then my number 3 is Sarah Connor. Does that count?
That is a punt.
Okay, as long as that counts.
Punt, but it's a punt.
Fuck, finally one. Jesus.
I think. Okay, so mine's gonna be fast. Sarah Connor's my 5.
Punt.
So that's a punt.
Okay.
Ellen Ripley is my 4.
Punt.
That is
Yep.
a punt.
And now we come back to Ellie Sadler from Jurassic.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So I put her
nice.
above Ripley and Sarah Connor. I think because I'm just going to say because I've been doing a lot of thinking about
I like where this is going.
both of these characters, about Ripley and about Sarah Connor. And I had Mark Bernardin on the podcast, and he picked the Terminator. And we sort of discussed Sarah in this movie, and then what being a strong woman in James Cameron's eyes looks like.
Ooh.
And transforming Linda Hamilton into a man, essentially. Like, there's a lot you can really unpack with her physicality, her mentality, her action. Anyway, save it, because we're punting. And then I thought about Ellen Ripley, and...
You might as well save it, because we're punting.
Well, okay. And I
you should have stopped yourself on the previous.
I feel... I have way more to say about why those two women are great and why they're on my list. This is why Jurassic Park is higher.
Yeah.
Because the more I think about these women who are accepted as the true science fiction badass women, it's all like, and then she got super jacked and picked up a gun and did all this shit. And over the course of a bunch of films. With Laura Dern in Jurassic Park, this is a much different, empowering character and a much different, like, Jurassic Park I don't think we think of as a science fiction movie because we think of it as maybe a Spielberg movie, an adventure movie, a monster movie first. But it is science fiction. It is 100% science fiction.
Absolutely.
And this character, her character, is in some ways truly the feminine of the scientific approach. Like, she literally gets into the shit and she embraces, the situation. And it's kind of like Poltergeist, actually. She reacts to what she sees with wonder and excitement and curiosity, where so many around her react to it with cynicism and this, like, whoa, kind of like pushback. And Laura Dern, I think, is underappreciated because she's playing the straight man in a lot of ways. You get Jeff Goldblum, who gets to be funny and weird, and you get Sam Neill, who gets to be the Indiana Jones,
the paternal,
exactly, and get off my plane, kind of like attitude with these kids, right? But she is doing the science. She's doing the stuff, and I just dig her. So that's why she's higher than the other two for me.
Well, she's basically the center of the storm. So everybody else is kind of going around her, and she pulls them back in when they need to and tries to course correct to get everybody ultimately to the end. And she does it. It just seems so believable. It's like, that seems the closest representation of what a scientist would do in this circumstance. Yeah. I'm guessing. I have no idea. I haven't been to a park of dinosaurs yet. Fingers crossed, guys.
Oh.
Fingers crossed. But that amber shit doesn't fly because the DNA would have degraded a long time ago. That's what hurt after, because I read the book and I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then years later, someone was like, the DNA would have, the half-life of that, it's never going to make hundreds of millions of years.
Fiction.
Yeah, no, that's where it comes in. And I was like, damn.
That's why it's not science.
Yeah, but we could bring back woolly mammoths, guys. We could do some of that jazz.
I saw it in Ice Age, yeah. Wait.
Sure. But yeah, she was just so excellent in it because she's a great counterpart to Neil as well. Like there's an esteem that they share between the two of them, plus a fondness. They obviously want to hook up in the long term.
Well, she has a great mix of wide-eyed wonder
Yep.
With logical scientific approach.
Cynicism.
yeah, the cynicism with the wide-eyed wonder. It's a tough tightrope to walk believably. And Laura Dern, who doesn't get heralded enough for the incredible body of work that she's done as an actress, since like Rambling Rose, even before that, like she did one with Treat Williams that was like based on a Bob Dylan song, and from that point forward, that's when I saw her the first time, and like to see all the stuff she's done since, and end up in Last Jedi even, it's incredible.
Yeah.
And in this film, she brings so much warmth and enjoyment to the movie when everyone else is, doing their thing, like you said, like Jeff Goldblum's trying to do his thing like he normally does, and Sam Neill's doing a solid thing. You have Laura Dern to take you from place to place in these moments and really like empathize with what's happening and understand and connect to what's happening. More so than if you didn't have her in the movie. I think it would be just a straight like dinosaur movie or straight whatever.
It would, yeah.
If you had her be a stock female character that somebody would write with no flesh and no bones to it, you'd be lost without her.
She
and
actually looks like a scientist to me.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I'm saying? They could have
Nerdy
cast it.
scientist.
And by the way, let's not forget that Laura Dern, IRL, like I don't know her personally, but she seems like a cool lady. And
okay.
she seems like not a square.
Yep.
And that character is a square. And that character looks like these are not criticisms.
No.
I'm just saying that I think that I think that it's easy for us to just be like, oh yeah, that's Laura Dern. No, that is like a character. That's not, Laura Dern doesn't walk
Right.
around in khaki pants and bangs. Like she's a hippie and she's cool as shit and she
tuck her
hangs out
shirt
with
in.
David Lynch. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that like it's cool.
Truth.
Like that's extra cool to me.
Okay.
All right.
You don't think so?
No, it totally is. I know she dates Baron Davis.
Sure.
Which that means
she's dating him now, yeah.
Yeah, that means something to us.
Yeah,
as
definitely.
basketball fans, I heard
Yeah.
that and I was like, oh, that's an interesting couple because he's from here and he's
Yep.
always wanted to get into the production side of that aspect.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then just like, oh, I wonder if she's a basketball fan because we're both diehard basketball fans.
Sure.
It's
Yep.
like, oh, I wonder if that's what drew and she knew from his stint on the Clippers or something. They met there.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows?
Oh, my
but
God.
she's living her best life.
Yes.
And I like it.
So that was your three?
What was your three?
Three.
My two was just that quick punt, Sarah Connor from Terminator.
Cool.
That's my number 3, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Did I already do it?
No. You done your 5-4?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
What's wrong?
Is that a punt? Where are we at?
Yeah, my number
we're
2.
on
That
Sarah
was a punt.
Connor.
Okay.
Because it was her 5, so we're just waiting. Boom. Here's
Oh,
two.
so it's higher. It was higher on your list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I punted.
Yeah, because we still have to get through the big chunk sections.
Listen, Matt, I'm getting old. That's all I can tell you.
I think you're just staring at your list in disbelief.
I'm
and
getting
how
serious.
infuriated
It's
compared
true.
to two other people in this room.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. It's very
There's
true.
nothing
as
wrong
well.
with. Yeah, you should hang yourself.
I really
mentally over
should.
this.
Mentally, there's enough. There's enough wood here.
Well,
to
I'm
hang
saying
myself.
metaphorically. I don't want you to literally do it.
Oh, fair. At least till after the show. All right. Anyway, Sarah Connor.
So Sarah Connor.
Linda Hamilton.
See, I think I've heard that criticism about Cameron before. About
From his own lips.
yeah, and look at the women in Avatar. It's just like okay, you have a very specific. You could create any alien, and this is the alien you create. But I think for her, the arc of her, as she comes to the realization that she needs to raise the savior of humanity, it makes sense that she would get into shape, get all those attributes that she needed to pass on to her son. So the progression from where she was a waitress to where she ends up in 2 seemed natural to me as a moviegoer.
I
So-
don't disagree. I think my thing with it as I get older and as I really think about it is I want to see that journey. That's the journey. That's,
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
that's fair.
like
Well, they tried to do that in a TV show.
Well, they did,
Yeah,
but
the
that's
Connor girls.
not Linda Hamilton. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, like, my point is just that as I consider the films, by the way, again, love the movies.
Mm-hmm.
I love both of them. This is not, it's, and she's my number 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
not like she's insignificant. I just think that journey, like what it must be like to be surrounded by Terminators or Terminators coming after you all the time and getting into that place, like that they did explore in Sarah Connor Chronicles, but like the jump from, yeah. So I don't disagree. I'm just saying that I would have preferred to have seen that
I think
part.
that's a valid point. But I will say it's a 1992 film. We as a society, that's how we saw it, right? We were at the height of the fitness craze at that time. People were running, people were lifting weights, people were jogging. Bodybuilding was a big deal. So Arnold, Sly, there was this whole idea of it. So, and she's a waitress. Like, she's not going to be like, she's got her own thoughts of these things, but she's a waitress.
Yeah.
And so she's
She's an average person.
Right, she's an average person. So in her mind, maybe this is the way to do it. She has to prep herself. And the things she says, like, we don't get into it deep enough in the movie, right? We don't get into finding out like she had all these different relationships with all these guys. So she wanted to learn these things. She put herself through this incredible sacrifice physically and emotionally and mentally so that she could she could train John to be the leader of the resistance. Once again, off the words of this guy who came from the future and then died and impregnated her.
But then once you see the Terminator, you believe.
Yeah, well, of course. Even that psychiatrist in the second one, when his cigarette fell out of his mouth.
That's a great little moment.
Yes,
Comes right
really
through the bars. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but even when she's this way, you connect to her because she has taken these hard stances because of how innocent or naive she was in the first film. She goes so extreme the other way. And I can see the argument, it's how Cameron sees strength in women. I respect that, but Rose isn't like that in Titanic. Rose doesn't go off and start lifting weights to be
strong.
I think she is. She wants to kill herself to get out of the situation.
She outlived everybody else from Titanic, did she not?
And she became very successful.
Yeah.
And she got out with those rocks, y'all.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's strength within that in itself.
Too.
Yeah.
No, I think again, but you can and we will get to Ripley, and I'm not going to dive into it. But like, what happened with Ellen Ripley when we leave her in the first movie? She looks a certain way, and then when James Cameron gets a hold of her, she's suddenly ripped and strapped to a machine gun.
Well, to be fair, James Cameron directed both the first Terminator and the second Terminator, so it was there. With Alien, I think it's a stronger point because it's Ridley Scott who does the first one, whereas he takes over for Ridley Scott. But I don't think Ripley's necessarily ripped in the second one.
Looks like,
me either.
No, I don't sense that because she's thin in the first one. She's thin in the second one. I don't see her as necessarily
it's the
strong.
way she
but the
carries
picking
herself.
up, definitely. But the picking up the gun thing is a valid. What you were saying, I agree with you completely. We have to see her do that, right? Because she didn't necessarily do that in the first one. It was always evading. It was always like being smarter than the alien.
That's the thing, and I think
that
the
second
when
one is
both
about
of
being
those
brute
movies
violence.
end, those women are completely different when the sequels pick them up.
Yes.
And I think that is the part. And again, guys, they're my number. Like, audience, don't yell at me. They're my number 4 and 5.
No, but this is a good art. This is a good discussion to have. This is why the show's good. Like we can discuss because it's Bernard and. Definitely, those are valid points, and I've read it in a couple other places as kind of a pushback. And then, of course, what Cameron said
about Wonder Woman.
Yeah, about Wonder Woman last year, like a fucking idiot. When he said that shit, you're just like, dude, like just shut up sometimes.
Also, by the way, physical strength
means nothing.
But it does mean nothing. But it's also not a bad thing. Like, I'm not saying it's bad that these women are physically look a certain way. Like, my point is that strength, especially since motherhood runs through both of these characters, strength and motherhood and feminine strength look and feel and come out of in very different ways.
Right.
And also, by the way, just for the audience, like, I understand the metaphor of in T2, who's more of a machine, who's more of, I get it. I'm not, it's not lost on me, like the messaging here, but it's just, So that's why they're 4 and 5 and not 1 and 2.
Right. That's fair.
Sure. What do you got at 2?
I don't remember anymore. That was such a great impassioned discussion. It's probably Ripley. Yeah, Ripley. Ripley's my number 2.
We're going to needlessly punt. What's your number 2?
Not on either of your lists, I can guarantee it.
Yes.
My number 2 is another character from an Alex Garland script.
Oh.
Selena in 28 Days Later.
Oh.
Now, this is
who is that?
Naomi Harris.
Naomi Harris.
Yes.
And God, did she rock my world when I first saw that movie. I was like, who is this woman? And what I love about 28 Days Later, so again, it's a virus. It's the rage virus.
Yep.
This is like, this is a pandemic or an epidemic. In that movie, Jim, played by Cillian Murphy, is essentially the final girl. And she is the not final girl. You know what I mean? Right. She is the one who is calm-headed, steering the ship, efficient, while he is flailing and cannot seem to. Now, granted, he's just entered into this situation. He just woke up. I get it.
Yeah.
But she has clearly survived in this situation in a way where she is making it, and in a way where she has teamed up with the little girl and her dad, and where and so and there is a scene towards the end. It's to me, it's one of the most incredible scenes in any science fiction horror film ever, where they're at the military compound and they are, going to assault the women or rape the women. But
they give
then
those dresses.
they give them the dresses, and Selena grabs the little girl and says, "Take this and just don't,
dull
it's
you of what's the experience to come."
Exactly. And then Jim essentially lets the infected in, and all hell breaks loose.
It increases their numbers.
It sure does.
It does.
Sure does.
Just like, listen, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Absolutely.
So.
But she is just, to me, one of the most incredible actresses working today, and that character is so unique and doesn't feel stereotypical to strong female character in genre film. To me, she seems like a cool lady who's just like, well, similar to Alan Ripley. Well, I don't want to die today.
Yeah.
So we're going to figure this out, I suppose. And you're going to adapt and you're going to learn. And, I guess if we want to tie it back to those other conversations, like, she's kind of that nice middle ground of, like, she's physically able and capable and tough, but she's also like, I just don't want to die today. So we're going to not die today.
But isn't it okay? Because if your pushback is against the James Cameron view, but isn't it okay to take this as a decision, as a character choice? I'm going to lift weights. I'm going to lift weights. I'm going to get
Sarah Connor?
for Connor, and even for Ripley going around. Like, isn't that okay for them to make that as a decision?
Well, and by the way, it makes perfect sense that if Terminators are coming after you all the time,
you saw Schwarzenegger, who's like the size of a mountain,
and you survived the one. But, Bernardin pointed out, like, well, I'm under the impression that there were more.
Yes,
like, they kept sending them, right? So that changes a person over a decade, and I'm with you. I get it, and no, there is no criticism that is what it has to be. It's just, again, I feel like the physical transformation, the physical hardening, and the emotional hardening. I want to see that, and the way that Sarah Connor has been lifted up as the quintessential female hero icon. Like, she's one of them, but when you look back and you sort of explore it a little more, why? Because she ain't that in the first movie.
But
she's
at the
being
same time,
constantly in the
she goes from an average person to she knows what her life's purpose is.
Yeah.
Solely. How many of us can actually say that? We're just like, I know precisely what I'm here to do on this earth.
Yeah.
And to be plucked from the fact that you were just like, I would imagine the vast majority of people, just like, I go to work, it's not my favorite job, like, this is my life, but maybe I'm not happy with it, to no, here's what your life is meant to be and supposed to be. And that gives you a drive, determination, and focus that the average person can't identify with, because they don't set their mind on a specific goal like she is given.
Yeah.
She's given proof. So I think that, because you understand her motivation and drive, is why her transfer, if you want to tell me like Ripley, that one makes less sense. If I don't think she's as like jacked, and the second one is
she's
as Linda,
angrier.
She is, but she was asleep for the interim between the two movies, so she wouldn't have gotten huge.
I think the Connor thing is a valid.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against
I hadn't thought of this all this
1.5 Terminator 1.5,
right?
And additionally, the last thing I'll say is just that having rewatched The Terminator very recently, where Sarah Connor ends. Where she ends that movie, she's like wistful and soft and romantic and hopeful and looking out into the distance. Fair, fine. She can do that. That's quite optimistic and cool. When we pick back up with her, she is a soldier, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that which Sarah Connor is on our list and why? And if it's both, like, there's a little bit of a gap there. That's all I'm saying.
I just think the wistfulness at the end is her belief of, I defeated the Terminator.
Yeah.
And then the idea of the gap between 1 and 2 is she's so hardened because she has been taking down. This didn't end wistfully like I thought. It was like I defeated the one. Like, nah, I don't know. Yeah, they're in the future. They've already figured out that you won.
And to be fair, he hands us that, though, at the beginning of the sequel. He hands us that, so once we start watching it, we're watching from that prism, because she's in a psych ward and she's under lock and key, and it's her son who's telling us what happened to her and through the Terminator. through that whole conversation with Schwarzenegger until they break her out, and then you hear all that stuff through her, and then when she talks to Joe Morton, you hear more of that. So everything's being painted by the script of what happened before during these intervening years. Right, it's like Christ lost years. We don't know what happened between him being the carpenter boy and all of a sudden coming back being a prophet. Yeah. We're like, and that's fair. I think you're absolutely. I would love to see that. I would love to have seen that all that. And I think you're right. Chronicles did try to do that, but it's not her. It was Lena Headey, who I now will never forget that fucking name ever again in my life. But yes.
Well, don't forget that it's Heedy.
Heedy, goddamn. At least the L's not there. That's all I care about.
One step at a time. One step at a time.
Baby steps.
Baby steps to the elevator. Baby steps to the elevator.
Damn you, Levine. Damn you to hell. Anyway, all right. So where are we at now?
So you're at Ripley.
Yeah, we're Ripley. Who we've already talked about.
I guess we
haven't. No.
Yeah.
I don't think a guest has ever done that before. I know we're going to get to it, but let's talk about it now.
No, it's what I talked about is very different than why she is so high on your list. So that's go ahead.
I just love Sigourney Weaver, man. I loved her. What's great about Alien is she is not the leader from the beginning.
No.
That's right.
You don't see it coming. Like all these other people are presented as more capable in essence, but she is the smartest person. The whole thing doesn't fucking happen if they listen to her about not letting John Hurt on the ship, about following protocol, play by the rules. But no, of course, the man's got to go in there, and the dude, and men like this are like, no, we could bend the rules a little bit because we got to get our friend back. And because he doesn't listen to the fucking rules, John gets on there with the alien in his stomach, and everything, and all hell breaks loose.
He needs an XO like Denzel in Crimson Tide.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody that's allowed legally within the laws of this business that's out here just salvaging. He can stand up. There's a rare instance where you can do that, but nobody will. And they're all like, screw it, we're doing it.
And they kind of turn her into a bitch, into a nagging bitch, because she's following the rules. All the dudes are like, why are you doing that? Why are you being such a hard ass, blah, blah, blah. And the whole time, she's fucking right. And because these idiots are flouting the rules, they get in these stupid situations. There's so much going on here that isn't fleshed out in the movie, but you can extrapolate what Ridley Scott is trying to say through this whole movie about this whole approach to things, about the male approach to science and male approach to these kinds of things, these swashbuckling things, all these, and they all get caught up in these situations, and she's the only one that survives because she's just smarter. She's constantly smarter in the situation and still saves the fucking cat. She even sacrifices herself almost at the end to save the fucking cat. That maternal instinct is still there, even with all the hard-ass moves that she does and fear that she confronts. And that's the thing that's great about her. You never forget that she is scared for her fucking life through the whole movie.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. The amount of tension that they pull out of never showing that damn alien is absolutely impressive. And then her into the second one where once again, hey, guys, those are nuclear reactors back there, right? Maybe we don't use the bullets. Yeah. And then they still use, the Marines still have clips of bullets, but the fact that she is still the only one managing to see, the forest and the trees instead of getting obscured from the view.
Once again, a bunch of men swinging their dicks, walking in there in that second one, thinking they know better about how to handle the CO who's an idiot, and then everyone else who's like trying to shoot everything up with the Marines and everything. And she's always, you're right, she's always like, hey, maybe we could be a bit smarter about everything we're doing here. And then you have Paul Reiser undercutting her at every moment, trying to trap her in that situation. Oh,
sorry about that.
Have we been on?
Yeah, right. Oh, Reiser's so good as the dick.
Yeah, oh my god,
so good as.
I didn't think he had that gear in him.
No. When he does it, especially his comeuppance at the end.
Oh
like,
yeah,
yes. It's so justifying.
But what she's done with the character, like in every film she's appeared in, I think she's done her best to create more layers to this character. Right?
Always.
Even in shittier versions of the films,
Yeah, Sigourney always shows up. Like, always. Yeah. And she clearly loves this character.
Yeah.
And I think that's really endearing and cool.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been endearing and cool about an Alien 5 as Neil Blomkamp, I always say his name wrong, I'm sorry, but wants to do it, or wanted to do it, and she wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And while we're on the topic, may I just say that I on my list of science fiction women, I have her in Alien. I have her in Galaxy Quest.
Definitely.
I have her in Ghostbusters as Dana, and I have her in Cabin in the Woods. And yeah, and I just am like,
that is not sci-fi.
Yes, it is. Science. They have a control center.
Yeah, no.
Yes, they do.
No.
No?
They're going.
They do
up
have a
against
control
the old
center.
gods.
I know, but they add science to it. They build a facility and go to work, and there's science and
I don't give a shit. It's
technology
predicated upon mysticism.
So what?
So they might as well fight ghouls and witches.
Hello, there are ghosts in Ghostbusters.
Yeah, but at least you could sell me on the idea of a soul and trust me, I want to take you to task on that because it's like, how's that sci-fi? But at the same time, it's kind of sci-fi.
Is what sci-fi? Ghostbusters?
Ghostbusters, because I don't believe in ghosts.
Totally science. Well, that's your person.
I know. That's why I didn't say anything before. I was like, I kept it to myself.
So what you're saying that in every single
they're
one
measuring-
of these
because they're aliens and I can't prove they're aliens.
No, but my question is, you're saying that in every single one of these science fiction movies there is no God?
No, in that one, there's like numerous old gods.
So
that's what
what?
they're trying to appease.
So they're so monotheism makes it
I guess as opposed to like
to polytheism.
Polytheism in the form of
There is a scientific
like Nordic
apparatus in Cabin in the Woods.
Well, either way,
I'm
it's
not-
an honorable mention.
Yeah,
so it wasn't on
My
the
point
list.
is just that Sigourney Weaver,
Yeah.
I think, is one of, if not the coolest, like science fiction
Yeah.
icon.
Absolutely.
She's been in all across the board some really cool.
Yeah,
stuff.
and in the second one, when she picks up, like that's iconic. When she has that line, Get away from her, yeah, bitch. And you're just like, whoa. I mean, you've heard that word numerous times, but it takes a real great actress or actor to say that word in a certain way that you're just like, damn.
she stands in a load lifter. And
Yeah.
is so intimidating.
Yeah.
and she's just a person behind a metal exoskeleton. That's all it is. But you see the way it's lit and whatnot. It's just so captivating. Be like, I wouldn't want to mess with her right now.
That's one of the first toys I ever bought and like had on my desk was her in the load lifter that they
Really?
had. Yeah, because I like that. I like what it represented. So I just always enjoyed having that on the
When'd you get
desk.
that?
Well, it was 21, 22. I never bought toys when my parents.
Yeah, I
always
just
bought
don't
me
even remember
toys.
that like coming out. I don't remember like action play stuff
What?
for not
You
for
never seen that?
aliens.
Yeah.
Not until later.
What do you mean later?
Like when they said like not Seth MacFarlane, MacFarlane or whatever, the guy that does.
Todd McFarlane.
Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had his coming out, and like they were bringing back like iconic scenes, and they do them in set pieces almost, or individual characters, and that's when I started seeing things like that. But I don't remember.
We'll figure that out.
Okay.
Yeah, because you're good at finding those kinds of things. So yeah.
Sure.
Because like with the shoes, you're always on top of when these things come out. So I trust you. But
No problem.
I remember having one. That's all I know. All right, where we at?
Number one.
You're number
It's
one?
a punt from that was my number one. Oh, we haven't done yours?
We haven't done mine,
Yeah.
which is Leia.
Okay.
So I don't know what I can add to it since you're both going to shoot it down.
I'm not
but
going to shoot it down.
Princess
Your list.
Leia is amazing. And Carrie Fisher, what she was able to do, the late great Carrie Fisher with that character. And to bring her back again, arguably with, what's the word I would like, phrase I would want to use? Maybe not as powerful results as we would like to have seen. Because when you go back and watch that original trilogy, my God, she's incredible. My God, she's so full of life. She's so young. She's so vibrant. She's so powerful. She's just
I
everything.
don't think she brought that same power to this.
No, because you can see that the wear and tear, the cocaine, like it's all there.
Oh, interesting.
And it
She
bothers
lived
me.
a hell of a life.
Yeah, she did. And it bothers me because I'm like, if you hadn't fallen into that, I think you'd still. I think they only shot a few scenes with her because that's all her physical body could handle. And when you watch that documentary with her and Debbie that they did before she passed, you can see how many physical maladies she's struggling with, and it breaks your heart because Carrie, if she hadn't fallen, but Carrie lived a hell of a life. The alcoholism, the drugs, all that is just a side to her incredible writing and battling the old boy system in Hollywood and establishing herself as a respected script doctor, like
huge script doctor.
Yeah,
Worked on
she was
countless movies that people will
everything.
never know about.
Right, and still having time to act in certain movies, and When Harry Met Sally and assorted other things through the years, but you saw the wear and tear on her. And although I enjoyed seeing her in the movies, you can hear the septum, you can hear in her voice all that, and you're just like, damn. Because when you go back and watch the original trilogy, there's so much power there,
But
and
she's an old
so,
lady.
I
Yeah.
know.
Who's been fighting the
Well,
Empire
Jane
now? The
Seymour's
First
an old-
Order.
Well, Jane
That's
Seymour's an
40
old
years.
lady.
Yeah, but Jane Seymour is not a general.
Yeah, she hasn't been on the front lines of this family
watched
squabble that's taken down a
everybody
galaxy.
die.
All right,
Yeah.
but that wasn't a character choice. That's who she actually is.
True.
Like that's what she actually
It just
is.
plays in beautifully into, if you wanted to, read
Right.
that into the character.
Sure. Well, I felt the same with Harrison. Like I was like, oh man, stop! You're breaking my heart. You can barely walk down the hallway.
He still pulled it off.
That's not how
guess.
the Force works.
Exactly. He had the best lines to me
So
in that whole
good.
movie.
No, he did, yes. But like when he's walking down the hall, you're like, oh my God, he
you're
can barely
cold?
handle.
Yeah. That's fine. You don't
I gotta
need to
get me
tell
one of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not bad.
He got some
I
weird
love Force
STD
Awakens.
from a bar somewhere in the universe, and it's carried with him all these years later.
Sure, there you go.
I would just add to the Leia thing because actually we just did an episode of Joseph Scrimshaw's podcast. I just did one. He
Oh,
did
nice.
a
Force
show
Center?
called it's called Obsessed. His
Oh,
Obsessed
yes,
one.
the Obsessed
and we
one.
just recorded one about Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just say that we had this conversation, and to me, the strength and the power and the weariness that Leia has in Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I understand. Like it's hard to separate the personal from the character,
Yeah.
but I would say that the strength that she is exhibiting is she's thinking it out, and it's a politician's strength. It's a
Oh,
do you know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
And so, like, that
Yeah.
to me, like, I guess it's more fun to watch her jump around with the blaster in the original trilogy, but I actually find myself more and more compelled by her as a leader in Last Jedi.
Well, I'll push back a little bit on that, Clarke, because
Sure.
she isn't just jumping around. She's
leading, of
them the
course.
whole time. And the reason they escape from Hoth is because of her decisions and her. So she's learning how to be a leader at the same time as
Sure.
you're watching her progress. And then by Jedi, of course, she's in charge of the whole the kit and caboodle and everything that's happening. So. To me, it's more than just that. She is like in the first one, she's a princess who's supposedly needing to be saved, and she handled herself just fine.
Yeah.
But then you see, which is why the shades of Rey are there. But like in the second one, she's in charge of shit, and third one, she knows Lando's going to turn on him. She immediately suspects him from the beginning. So she's always, once again, she's always one step ahead of this whole situation. I take your point about her. Yeah, the grizzled veteran. I guess that makes sense. She's been doing it a long time. She's obviously been pulled back into it. And if you read the other books, she's never really left the fight.
Yeah.
She's always been there. She never could pull herself fully 100% away from the rebellion and from battling the evil through her years. So I get your point. it's not me attacking her personally. It's more a matter of like what could have been if she had kept herself in a better situation. And this goes for male and female. It's not purposely any one way or the other. I see male actors who get into the drugs and you see them later like, oh man, you're just terrible. You're watching that. Like Chet Baker had that happen to him as a jazz artist. You see him later, you're just like, oh man, what could have been, And so you see that happen, and it's just a shame.
Yeah, but if they didn't go through those other things, who knows if they would have been able to create the art that they did?
Fucking exactly.
Who knows?
Exactly. And with her, when she has that at the end, when she's trying to talk to him and she's trying to say, like, get your head out of the cockpit, all the stuff she says to him in Last Jedi, it's all valid. It's just all valid. And so, and it's a shame that we'll never get to see her do it again. It's a shame we'll never get to see her story come full circle the way it was supposed to come full circle. They had planned it out. In 9. So,
See if they CGI her in for one.
Oh, God, they already said they wouldn't. They already said they wouldn't.
Yeah.
But you never know.
You never know.
I think it's going to start 3 years later, and it's after her burial. And,
I think so too.
yeah,
I think the last scene is where you see her talking to Rey, who's also on the list, and there's no audio. I think that's her downloading the plan. You know what I mean? Like, I think they probably, even if that's not what that scene was supposed to
Right,
be,
right.
I think that's,
Could be.
and I think you're right. We're gonna pick up later on.
Yeah. Okay. So
All right,
number
from
one?
one weary warrior to another, Furiosa.
There it is.
Great segue.
Fuck,
Great
my number
transition.
three.
I just don't see it as science fiction, and so it's valid though. It makes sense.
Dystopian.
Yeah,
future hero on
it
Earth.
totally makes sense to me. It's just it's a chase movie, and so I don't think of it necessarily in that way. Like I never thought Road Warrior was science fiction. I just think it's the future. That's so, but I respect it.
We nuked ourselves, man, into
Yeah,
a wasteland.
Jiminy Cricket. I
That's
hope
all
it's
that's
not
left.
our future.
Oh
Yeah.
no,
It's possible.
no, we're gonna Trump is gonna kill us all. Anyway, yeah, good.
Great.
there we go.
Anyway, no, but I actually don't have too much to say. Furiosa is amazing. She's an amazing character. She is a realized character. She is an interesting character, and she is to me like. And this is a recent movie. I am very aware that putting her at number one is like a bold choice.
Yeah, but you walk into it going, this is a Tom Hardy movie. And you walk out going, this is a Charlize Theron movie.
Absolutely.
Like, she captures... I still love Tom Hardy. It's nothing against him. It's just the story is hers, and it's her arc that we're following and identifying with. And he disappears at the end because he floated into
Yeah.
her story.
Yeah.
he came into her world just like we did. So him exiting is us exiting, her story. But that's what we experienced. And I mean, hell, I believe 100% that she drove a big rig with a mechanical arm in, outskirts Australia somewhere 100 years in the future. I'll be damned if I don't believe that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Just, that was a cartoon come to life and utterly believable, but it was, because of her performance, so grounded within this chaos.
Yeah, and the you can only imagine what she endured at the hands of Immortan Jim, I think his name is Immortan Joe. What she's had to endure at the hands of him, and what she had to bide her time to find that moment to escape, and the back and forth with her and Hardy through the whole journey until he finally realizes the situation, and she yanks him essentially into understanding what's happening and forcing him to fight, which is the hidden truth of all the Mad Max movies. He is an unwilling hero. Through every movie he's in, he's an unwilling hero. He does not want to be a part. With the first one, it's revenge. But then the second one, he's like, I just want the gas. I don't want to get involved. The gasoline. I don't want to get involved. In the third one, I don't want to save these kids. He gets involved. In the same thing, he's always getting involved in these situations. But this is a first installment where it feels like he floated in, floated out.
He did.
Rather than the film's about him. And this is what was so incredibly brilliant about what George Miller did. And Charlize was overdue for a film like this. To be this incredibly powerful lead. And she is strong without looking necessarily like Linda Hamilton with muscles coming out everywhere. She still retains her femininity. When she's going all the way back, can I say that correctly? I don't know if I'm saying that correctly.
No, I get what you're saying. I think perhaps maybe my point wasn't clear in that it's a combination of emotional femininity and physical femininity, and Sarah Connor by Terminator 2 is to me,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. There's no
and with Furiosa, her whole mission is these girls,
and to bring them back to a safe haven, all woman safe haven. And then when she realizes, which I think is one of the most powerful moments of the movie, when she realizes it's gone, her breaking down, falling to her knees.
It's not even that. It's the idealized fantasy that she had is a lie. And it's not so much that it's genuinely a lie, but she needs to stop lying to herself that this is some utopia, Garden of Eden, and it's all women. And just no, you need to face the reality, which is her turning them back in.
Yeah.
And doing what is ultimately the most logical thing. Hey, they got water. They got supplies.
Yep.
If we can take that from them. I saw somewhere online that it's that's the story of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. So Immortan Joe is pestilence, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
And Mad Max is death. The bullet guy is another one, and I can't remember who the fourth was. And they're just that's an interesting, okay. And then she's saving humanity from the four horsemen, but then death is somehow, I was like, I don't know, it kind of falls apart, but it's interesting.
Sure.
Yeah, you got me on some level.
Right. She has that moment where she breaks down, realizes what's it, then she makes the decision, we're going back in. Yeah. And she's going to take that whole thing over. And it's balls. I mean, it's awesome. It's so gutsy.
And also, this is a role that I forget is Charlize Theron. Obviously it's her, but she's just transcends her being a movie star for me, and that's really hard to do.
When she burst on the scene, though, the way she looks, she just assumed she was going to be eye candy bad actress. She was look, she's so attractive.
Well, she's a formal model.
Yeah,
that's always the
I know why
stigma.
You're casting her,
right?
And then since then, it's just no, she's really good at this. Actually, she can fade into these parts and become these individuals. A wide array too.
I would challenge anyone to find an inauthentic performance from Charlize.
Yeah, even a bad movie.
Yeah.
I still enjoy her.
The terrible one she did with Stuart Townsend, she's still believable in it. And then you see what 2 Days in the Valley. She's great in 2 Days in the Valley. She's vibrant in that film. And then you see this. You see even Atomic Blonde, which I liked.
I like Atomic Blonde.
Yeah,
a lot of people didn't like it. I loved it. Right,
yeah,
80s stuff.
really
Was surprised by the negative critics on this film. I was like, this isn't good. This is incredible. And so her ability to carry this, and of course, Monster. You can't not talk about that. Patty Jenkins directed her in that, and she's just incredible in that. Some actresses come along or actors come along, and they put this stigma on them. And they just keep plugging away and fighting and working and making choices and building their credibility, and boom, and she's definitely one of them. We'll see that here. All right. I don't know how we're going to put this list together, but okay.
We
We got to combine them now, and which will take real quick. Let's see here. Where?
boy.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna purposely step aside on this one and like throw in my picks whenever.
It's pretty easy on some of the top.
If you say so.
Okay, we all have Ripley, Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor.
Anybody else? Do we have any other?
Those are the two we all have.
Yeah.
So then those in some order. Okay, what you have which above which on yours?
I have Ripley above Sarah Connor.
As do I. You?
I have Ripley above Sarah Connor.
Then that's probably 1, 2 right there.
Ripley, then Sarah Connor.
Yep.
And then what? Furiosa.
Yeah, we.
That's
both...
1, 3. Can we beat any combo 1, 3?
I can't.
Okay.
Can I put Leia there now, or do you guys have? Or
Leia should
do you
be
guys
in
have
there.
another combo? Okay.
No. What's your number one?
Well, our other combo was Ellie from Jurassic Park, but that's not as.
Yeah, I think we have closer on Rita than we do on it because Ellie's my 10th.
Oh yeah, Rita. I forgot about her. Yep.
But do you guys have any in between, and do we have any?
We don't have any. No, the only combination was Leia. Was Ripley and Connor.
Well, do you want Leia there? It's your number one.
Yeah, I would
think
like
she
Leia
should
at
be
4.
on the list.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
And then
I would say then Rita from Edge of Tomorrow next.
God, I'm mad.
Potentially followed by Dr. Ellie Sattler.
Okay.
I need to do.
Do we
better.
not have any other?
I don't know anything.
I don't think there's any other crossover.
Okay, where are we at? 7 or 6?
Yeah, we're coming up on 7.
All right, so we need 7. So my next one is Rey, but I'm happy to just keep it Leia as the only Star Wars entry. I don't mind that.
Okay, what do you got next?
What do you have next, Clark?
What's your next highest?
Selena, 28 Days Later. But that was just for me.
Well, what number is it?
2. And it's Alex
Do you have
Garland.
anything higher than that?
No.
All right, Selena, 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
All right.
What up, Naomi Harris? I love you.
I will fight for Trinity. I want Trinity on that list.
What do you have her at?
I have her at 4 or 5 rather.
5? What do you have next?
Joanna from Stepford Wives, and she's number 6.
Okay, so we both got you beat there because I got Ava from Ex Machina.
That's fine.
I'll give yours since you
Yeah,
had to give
please.
up so much. So who is it? I'm sorry?
Could have
Trinity.
2 people on. Is that all right? Trinity.
We'll see.
And
Well, because then she has Stepford at 6. What do you have next?
me?
Yeah.
I have Valkyrie from Thor Ragnarok
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
at 6.
All right, and then I got Louise Banks from Arrival at 6.
Oh, those
Okay.
are all good.
I don't know how we do this, guys.
What do you
I don't
mean?
know. I'm the one you guys figured out. Go.
How many slots are left though?
1.
Oh.
So we're all 3 have one that hasn't made it. It's all our number 6,
Well,
and we all wanted at 10.
You said you would have put Valkyrie on there if you had thought of it.
that's true.
But did Louise made your honorable mentions? Did she not?
Louise from
Arrival?
Yes, she did.
We're going to keep
Valkyrie
Tessa
did
Thompson
not.
off this list?
Oh, I want Tesla on there. Can she be number 10 or 11? 10.5? The thing is, here's what I would say.
We'd
'cause
have to move
I do
Naomi
love,
off, I think.
do love Tessa, but I put no superheroes on my thing.
Yeah.
You know, that was like,
All right,
that's
let's-
how I made my list, was no superheroes and no Star Wars.
Then Arrival.
Okay.
And
Right, 'cause it
Arrival
was on her-
my, yeah,
Yeah.
honorable mentions.
I don't mind giving up Tessa. for
Alex Garland is all over this list, y'all, which I think is kind of cool.
it. Oh, man. This is a long episode, dude. We went
You're
way
gonna have
longer
to-
than I thought.
You're going to have to break it in
Sorry.
half.
It's not going to be a record.
No,
you know?
it's not. It's at 2:06 right now. All right, let's do it.
We got to do 30 more minutes if we want to.
No, we're not going to break that. I got to
You
go
ready?
home,
All right,
son.
let's do
What
it.
are you doing? What are you guys doing?
The top 10 wait. The top 10 female sci-fi characters. Is that right? No. The top 10
Yeah, that's what I wrote down. Female
female
sci-fi
characters in sci-fi movies. Yeah. All right, here we go. At number 10.
Louise Banks from Arrival.
At number 9.
Ava from Ex Machina.
At number 8.
Trinity from The Matrix.
At number 7.
Selena from 28 Days Later.
At number 6.
Dr. Ellie Sattler, Jurassic Park.
At number 5.
Rita, Edge of Tomorrow.
At number 4.
Princess Leia from Star Wars.
At number 3.
Imperator Furiosa from Fury Road.
Numero 2.
Sarah Connor, The Terminator.
Can I just interject that You guys are really going to read off a list of the top 10 female heroes in sci-fi and not let me do one?
Oh, done.
Well, go ahead. You got number one.
You want us to start over?
No, I want you number one.
Right. Finally.
Number one is Ellen Ripley from the Alien franchise.
Yeah.
There we go.
Great point, Clark. We should have Clark and I trading off. My bad.
Hell yeah.
I'm not. Hey,
A guest has never asked to do it before.
Yeah,
I don't
they've
believe.
never asked
well,
to
I
do
feel
that.
like
That's awesome.
I feel like this is a good one for me to
Yeah.
participate in, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Since the lady thing.
I got the lady part.
No. We're stuck in our ways.
I know.
You know?
Yeah, we grizzle a little bit. We're the old boy
That's
network.
what I'm here
Exactly.
for.
I saw him show you the kitchen earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't. Wait.
That was. He was like,
That's
Clark,
not
do you have
true.
a tour of the studio? Let me
Might
show
want
you
to
the
get used to this
kitchen."
area over here.
He did
We
point
all
out,
understood.
There's an oven.
There's
He was
exactly.
like, there's an oven.
There's a working
there's a
oven.
dishwasher.
Wink. Yeah,
Just
you
in
won't have to do
case
dishes
you're
around here.
curious.
I saw it.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
that'll all
God.
saw
totally
it.
happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, that did not happen. I showed her the studio first. Where she'd be
That is
wanting to
100%
work.
accurate. All of that happened. All of that happened.
That's why I showed her 3 different things before we got to the. And I was only showing the kitchen for myself.
It is the
so
way
I
you
could
showed
make.
her.
Oh yeah, is it? Is that what it was?
I could tell from over here the inflection in your tone. I was offended.
Fine, I'll take it. I've been getting killed this whole episode anyway, so fuck it.
You were killing yourself. We
I
never
really
once
am.
said.
No, I know because I have a high.
No, yeah, we were very supportive of your choices, I feel.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Wrong as they may have been.
it. There it is.
I
There it
didn't
is.
say it.
Saw it coming. Clarke Wolfe, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
I know this was a long episode, so I appreciate you taking the time to sit and listen to our shenanigans. Where can people find you?
Thanks for letting me break up all the rules and demand
Not a
to
problem.
be included in
That's
the
incredible.
countdown.
We have never had that.
Like every
It's
other
amazing.
guest manages to figure out a way to like throw a wrench in. You're like,
Yeah.
I never thought of somebody doing that there. All right.
There you go. Well, that's what I'm here for.
I love it.
And yeah, you guys can find me every Tuesday on Sending the Wolf on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Music, and other podcast apps. Sending the Wolf is the show, and you can find me at Clarke Wolfe, Clarke with an E, Wolf with an E.
Do you write anywhere? Do you have articles up
I'm
in
not writing
Okay.
anywhere right now.
Okay.
No.
Any of your Nerdist videos up that people could go take a look? Is there?
Yeah, I mean, if you search my name on Nerdist, you'll be entertained for hours.
Yeah, she does a lot of interesting
So I
things. Mm-hmm.
used to do a lot of interesting things, and I just interviewed Helen Mirren and Jason Clarke for Nerdist.
Nice.
For
Nice.
Winchester,
Winchester.
which was fine. So yeah, and also if you want, there's a Patreon for me. Patreon.com/Clarke Wolfe. There are mini episodes of the pod that come out every Thursday that are just for you, Patreon
Oh yeah,
people.
I
So there
remember
you go.
that. I was on one of them.
You were.
It was really funny.
Yours was public
yes.
for everyone to listen to.
Oh, ooh.
You can't hold that behind a
Anyway.
paywall. You know?
No,
You got to
can't.
give that to the
You
people.
can't. That's right.
You really can't.
You can't
Yeah.
put me in no damn paywall.
Can't deny them their cocaine. You know? You get a little taste of the South
a
American
taste.
treat over there.
All right, that's
Just
enough.
a
Matt,
Yes. I'm trying to think of euphemisms, like make them up on the fly.
the yayo.
I like the South American treat, though. That's
There we go.
it's so terrible, it's not bad.
Matt, where can people find you?
Just add Matt Knost, MATTKNOST.
And then
Go to our Facebook page if you want to join the discussion. It is facebook.com/groups/the top 10 show with the number 10.
that's right. And if you want to donate to our Patreon, we also have a Patreon, www.patreon.com/the top 10, the number 10 there. And you can donate numerous tiers there, $1, $5, $10. There's I think it's a $20 one where you can participate in Thunderdome. You
20,
can
50 and-
pick a topic and be one of the people that gets chosen to pick a movie for that topic. And we just did Dodgeball, which devolved into a Katy Perry discussion.
Basketball.
Yeah, and basketball as well. You never know what's going to happen on those Thunderdome episodes, and they are based on Mad Max. 2 films enter, 1 film leaves. We discuss that film, and we have a great time doing those. So, if you want to donate there. You can follow me at the Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram, and see me on Collider doing numerous things as well. And the Cinephiles on iTunes as well, and the Outlaw Nation on this SK Plus podcast channel, and patronize all the shows on the podcast channel.
Yeah, please.
That we have SK. We have
Wangers,
Schmodown
After
Rundown.
Schmo.
Yeah, Don't Be a Beardo.
Yeah,
meaning
there's,
of.
critically acclaimed.
Yeah, those boys, the critically acclaimed boys.
There's a ton of
there's
interesting
so
content
much.
going up there.
Yeah.
JT
JT Movie Thinks is back. JT, if you're listening, asshole, put me on that damn show. I haven't been on in a while. It's time for me to come on the show with you. Maybe we can do it before our live battle. That'd be a blast. Anyway, all right, that's our show for this week. Once again, I want to thank the lovely Clarke Wolfe for taking the time to be here.
Thank you.
It was so much fun to have you on. And guys, we will talk to you all, next week?
Next week.
Boom.